on. What's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas. But we're broadcasting all over the world via Facebook Live and YouTube Live. It's a great day. It's Baby Thursday. We got a special guest coming on at the end of the show in the second
Baby what?
hour. Tonight is Monday night football. Thursday night football. Football tonight. Jimmy, this is the start of the U.S. Open at Winged Foot. I'm an avid golfer to you golfers out there. And we got 69 more days to begin with college basketball, college basketball begins. And Jimmy, let me start off the day to give homage to our first five, our starting five, the first five people who signed up on the Facebook feed and the YouTube feed. So we got Todd Holmes from Facebook. We got Rod Wells from Facebook side. We got Derek Johnson from Facebook. But here come Kim Jackson from YouTube and B. Scott. You top five, B. Scott. Oh, yeah, you top five. You ain't been top five in a long time, B. Scott. B. Scott kind of, she kind of dissed us for a little bit, Jimmy. But that's all right. But guess what? Our sixth person of the day happened to be a woman. Name is Jessica Brooks. What's up, Jessica? What's up, everybody? Jimmy, we got so much stuff to cover, Jimmy. I got a LeBron soliloquy I got to give to y'all, because y'all, it's not that I'm going to get like Jimmy. It's not that I'm anti-LeBron. I'm just pro Michael Jordan, and I've been blessed enough to see both of them up close for over these years. I've been blessed enough to be the right age to be able to be there with Michael Jordan and be able to go through this. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord, for putting me in this position. So when I'm coming from, I've saw how they prepared. I've been to the games early. I've been in places other than the basketball court with both of these guys. So it's just a unique. I'm gonna give a unique tribute to LeBron James and a unique take about him and Michael Jordan. I want to share with y'all in just a little bit. Oh, thank for the shirt. Oh yeah, you like that shirt? My little nephew's in Memphis. He loved the Memphis Tigers and he loved this shirt. I'm still waiting on my package to come for some more of these shirts. I'm gonna just have to keep wearing this one until I get my other ones. So Jimmy, a lot of stuff happened. I wanted to share some with y'all about media. I got a media situation I want, grassroots media situation I want to share with you later. I'm just throwing out some stuff. The games start tonight. The NBA resumes tonight too, Jimmy. I think the Miami and Boston Celtics, their series start back again tonight. Well, continues tonight. And tomorrow, the Lakers in Denver. So, yeah, that's it for me. What's up, Barry? What's up, Jess McKay? What's up, Todd Holmes? Todd Holmes, see that, Todd Holmes? Y'all see Jimmy know it all. See, I can't tell him nothing he don't know. But I'm glad you appreciate it, Todd. I mentioned Andrew Gillum and you looked it up. And I'm glad you mentioned it. Because, some of these people, they know it. I don't have to help them. But I'm glad I helped you, Todd. And Todd, and the key thing about Andrew Gillum, since you bring it up, was a promising rising star in the political world and threw it away on a weekend in Miami. And that's we'll talk about that. Y'all go Google it and y'all find out how he threw it away on a weekend in Miami. So, Jimmy, what you got going on? What else you got?
Just get ready to crank this thing up. Baby Friday, as you said, Baby Thursday early. I want to get you.
Baby Friday. Okay.
Baby
Help
Friday.
me out.
And let's jump right in there first because we got so much to go with. Let's go and let's tackle, of course, the NBA playoffs resume this evening with the Eastern Conference Game 2. And that would be I think a 6 o'clock tip-off between Miami and Boston. However, on yesterday, the all NBA teams, they trickled those out during this week. and the third team was published on yesterday, as well as the second and first team the day before. Well, looking at the third team, in case you missed it, Jason Tatum is third team. Jimmy Butler, Rudy Gobert, Ben Simmons, Russell Westbrook. Those are the 5 on the third team. The second team, Kawhi Leonard, right? Nikola Jokic, Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, and Pascal Siakam is on the second team. The first team, the Greek Freak, LeBron James, James Harden, Anthony Davis, and Luka Doncic rounds out the first team. So now my thing is, do you guys think it's time, or the time is coming? Because a lot of time in history, there have been rules to be modified, but should those all NBA teams include the postseason as well?
Oh no! See, I just think it's 2 different awards. I love being, because going over 80. See, think about this. You got guys who, over this short period in the finals, then did a lot of stuff, but they ain't did that much. They wasn't doing this much in the season. The season is 82 games of the grind. 82 games of the grind. The grind is attrition. Stuff can happen. Stuff can do this. You can get injured. You got to come back. You got to do that. So I just don't like when people just downplay seasonal accomplishments. So I'm one of the guys that you got to have both, because you can't sit up here and dismiss 82 games of somebody's work for 2 months, for a month and a half of work. So that's how I feel about it. Good question, but the way I feel about it, I think it's fine the way it is. It's been that way for years. Why are you changing it now? It's been that way for 75 years, and I ain't saying because it's been that way for 75 years. You got to give me some valid reasons for to change it. I just don't see a valid. Give me a valid reason. Anybody? Wesley Yates, Thaddeus, Derek. Bradley Beal crying, telling me he averaged 30 points. But I think Mike came on there on Twitter and said, Coach Mike said, well, Bradley, James Harden lead the league in scoring every year. That means he's supposed to be MVP every year? No. That's not the way it works. But Jimmy, just being around these teams and being around over my career and watching the toil that happens for 82 games and the things can happen for 82 games, it's you got to give somebody, you got to have an award for that, and then just have the award just like they're doing. So anybody else got something else, y'all help me out. Help me out. Make me see the light.
Well, I mean, if you look back on it, the NBA has made modifications, and all sports have made modifications or implemented new rules in their game. And my thing is, first, my solution would be how to get you got Luke name in there on the bottom on there.
Okay, my bad.
The first thing that I would probably consider is maybe at the end of the championship, they always acknowledge the MVP. So maybe they should consider a playoff, like of the playoffs, an all postseason team. That way now you can have validity, an all postseason team, because that way now, and then
they do that.
They do. I know they give all post, but
no, a championship. In the championship,
yes,
you got to make it to the championship.
I don't. Maybe an all postseason.
But why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why?
Because certain guys, they look at a Jason Tatum right now and a Jimmy Butler right now, and you put the postseason in there, those guys would be first team all postseason. A guy like Russell Westbrook wouldn't even make this postseason team, or at least the first team for sure. And that way now you have a way for those people who just might not have got it done all the way in the season, they have a chance to go and make their statement in the postseason. And then I'm thinking, hell, You think about it like this. The NBA just a couple of years ago, the All-Star game hadn't been tinkered with. They changed the All-Star game and modified those rules. And now, guess what?
Jimmy, the All-Star game is not, All-Star game is different. That's an auxiliary. That's not the season.
It's a novelty, but I'm just saying, but I'm just talking about something that was going on. And well, put it like this. We do know that the NBA is considering, they considered before, and now they're considering about the lane, widen the lane. That's part of the game to make it sync with international play. The goaltending rule is another thing that goes with that international play. In international play, you can knock that thing off the rim. And so they're thinking about adding that to the NBA. I'm just saying so, but then people that's been conventional and say, oh man, it's been like this for years, why change it? Well, once you understand, like, well, hell.
Jimmy, I'm trying to say, what would be your reason to change? See, everything that they've changed, what is your reason to change and have what would be your reason? You saying
I just said the reason.
What's the reason? What was it?
To acknowledge the guys who excel in the postseason that just don't win the championship. I mean, guess what? I mean,
Jimmy, you can't get a participation trophy. Everybody can't get no trophy, Jimmy. You want everybody to get a trophy.
Which is more important, the regular season or the postseason?
What you mean? Which is what? Because if you don't take care of your business in the regular season, you won't make it to the postseason.
Which is more important?
If you don't take care of your business, the regular season, because if you don't take care of them 82 games, if you don't have enough games, you can't make it to the postseason. So you asking which comes first, the chicken or the egg?
The postseason, but what you're saying is obvious. I'm saying which is more important. The postseason is more important. Okay, think back on the Clippers. Let's look back at them. Them and most media pundits who were in total support of the whole movement of load management. It had become to the point where it had trickled down to the amateur and grassroots sector. Load management. People had started doing it.
What has load management got to do with this conversation?
Huh?
What has load management got to do with postseason awards versus? I'm just see, Jimmy. You don't. Sometimes I don't think you hear yourself. What has load management has to do with this conversation?
Al, you just injected into my statement.
You always mentioning load management. What has load management got to do with this? I just don't understand. I mean,
Al, I was getting ready to hammer in a point. I've been doing this for 4 years. I never get to my point like this. Never. I never drive from point A to point B. I'm gonna take the long way around. I never do that. You guys know if I start talking right now, you can go to the refrigerator, get something, come back in about a minute. I'll be just getting to my point. You guys know that. It's been that way. But then when I get there, you be like, okay.
Get to your
damn,
point.
Man, why you just say it like this?
Get to your point. I'm gone. You got the
every
screen.
pitch don't have the same delivery. My wind up and my delivery ain't gonna be the same. Joe Negro don't have the same wind up as Nolan Ryan. So that's a big difference. So when you get that, it's like you get that like, but Jimmy, what they got to do with this? Well, you know what I'm getting. You know I'm about to get somewhere. And then so when that does that, it just deflates the whole thought of it to go back and revisit it. Or you make me forget what the hell I was talking about in the first place. Good gracious. Bottom line, the thing is, when you ask what the point is to acknowledge those guys that fare well in the postseason. That's all. You give accolades for everything else. It's maybe time to acknowledge first, second, third team postseason. That's all. That's a good thing to do. I really it would. First of all, you get more sponsors behind it. You can go and sell that to a sponsor. That's what they do to everything else when they release. There's somebody that's sponsored, presented by this, presented by that. That's just another way they can make some money for the NBA. And now speaking of the NBA, the draft has been announced for November the 18th. and that is the NBA draft will be held in a couple of months. And so a lot of people get up. It is definitely a shortened season, and everyone's preparing. If I'm not mistaken, they haven't officially announced it, but the word is that the Christmas Day could be the first day of the season, and of the regular season. So indeed, a shortened off season, it could be as well for the NBA.
I want to
It will
acknowledge
be
something
regardless.
before you go and move to another subject. I want to acknowledge something about LeBron James in this that in this NBA. I really got to. I just thought about it. LeBron James has broken another record, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you're familiar with it. First team All NBA again, along with Harden, Luka, LeBron, Giannis, and AD. His 16th All NBA selection. 16th. Let me repeat that just in case y'all. 16th. As much talent in this league as it is in this league. And, and let's look at the second team. Jimmy just mentioned Kawhi now you talk about the third team. Kawhi made the second team. Jokic made the second team. But officially, ladies and gentlemen, LeBron James is the greatest, check this out, the greatest for the longest duration ever. I didn't say GOAT. Okay? Didn't say GOAT. I say he's the greatest player for the longest duration ever. And I'm not a longevity guy because I was one of them guys that didn't, when Emmitt Smith got the greatest, got more yards than anybody. And I knew he was definitely not the best running back, but he got more yards because what? He played longer without injury, a lot of injuries. Let me tell y'all something, man. Being in this business for 30 years, it's hard to be great for a long time. Let me show you something about LeBron. And y'all really, I'm one of his critics. But LeBron James, I'm going to use a comparison, y'all. LeBron James is Microsoft. And Michael Jordan is Apple. Follow me here, Gregory Wiles and Otha Brown. Yeah, the greatest abilities availability. That's good. Apple and Michael Jordan are more glamorous, more popular. He has more iconic moments. LeBron, one of his iconic moment is the block. We can argue what's his second iconic play. We know the block, but if y'all got another one, put it up there for me. Michael got about 8 of these iconic moments. The hand switching move, on the Lakers, the Craig Elo jumper, the jam over the Knicks, and hold up, the push off on Russell. What is that? I forgot his name. What's the guy's name? I can't think of it. He gonna be mad at me. Michael got like 10 of these, y'all. Right? I'm just watch the comparison. LeBron got that block. And I was thinking about it. 17 years of amazing. He got the block, but he got 17 years of amazing. That's Microsoft. Go look at the company. Apple. Now let's compare Apple. Apple had some down years. Y'all remember? They fired Steve Jobs now. They had a huge downturn and disappeared in America. Michael retired twice. When he went to his second team, Jimmy, he was terrible. Well, he was a little crappy. But the duration of LeBron, Byron Russell, thank you, Alex, and Microsoft. Check this out about Microsoft, y'all. Microsoft was founded in 1986. By 1989, it was an economic force in America. It never had a downturn. It's not as glamorous as Apple. It's not as cool as Apple. It's not as iconic as Apple. But guess what? They didn't have the iPhone. Microsoft didn't do the iPhone. They didn't do the phone. But I learned something, Jimmy. Every company in America, the big companies and around the world, the companies, the big of any size, they use Microsoft. we all use Apple. But companies with big, I'm telling you, around the world, they use applesauce. That's what LeBron is. I mean, Microsoft. That's what LeBron is. You can argue Microsoft and Apple, what matters the most to y'all. Y'all can matter. You know, it's personal. But to go 31 years as a company or 17 years as an athlete and have no big downturn, we knocked LeBron for losing in the finals. We knocked LeBron from losing in the finals. I knock him too. That's the knock on him. Think about it. He gonna beat Michael Jordan in every stat that you can count. But the knock on LeBron is he lost in the finals with Matthew Dellavedova to a dynasty, the Golden State Warriors. The knock on Microsoft is what? They missed on the iPhone. A lot of things happen to companies over years, y'all. I'm just giving y'all an analogy. And a lot can happen to an athlete and his team over 17 years. It's unbelievable that LeBron James can put up with this stuff and do this stuff over and over and over and over and over. And I ain't gonna tell you, I'm one of the guys who one of his critics. But when I looked at it, that's why I used that analogy. It was just unbelievable. But y'all, we're gonna have to take a break. We're gonna come back in a minute. I got something I wanted to share with y'all. I'm trying to find it. I probably didn't do it. Oh, that's all right. Chop Shop, we'll be back in a minute.
24. Jeez. 27.
Robbie?
30.
Robbie? Woo. Oh, man. He did play college ball.
Robbie. Have fun. Have fun, Robbie.
We have moms, we have sisters, nieces, aunties, and just like, men of color have experienced, traumatic instances, so have women. So that is an example of, some things that happen to women in our country. So we wanted to stand alongside them, but also make it, that it's not just, it's not just us. I think that future is female, so important to show our sisters that we care. And that's why it's been important. I feel like for NBA players to continue to show that, and also being able to talk to her mom. Like we had a Zoom call right before the bubble started, and we got to talk to her mom and hear her voice and hear her cry, and that kind of triggered, everybody listening to a mom who just lost her baby, and the strength that she had during that phone call. It definitely spoke to me. She didn't cry during that call. She didn't even complain. She was just, in a sense, she was happy that somebody cared, that something happened to her little girl. And it's sad because everybody should care. It shouldn't be something that certain people shouldn't, or certain people, because it's political. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, somebody, lost their life who didn't deserve to lose their life. That's what it comes down to. So it's not even the NBA thing. It shouldn't be. You should care too.
Welcome back to the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, coming to you live from Houston, Texas. Early in the break, I showed a guy shooting a jump shot. He hit about 20-something in a row. It's not a basketball player. That's golfer Gary Woodland. Look him up. Star basketball player in high school. Now he's one of the best golfers in the world. This kills me. I'm just the talent of some of these super athletes, like Stephen Curry, can come out there and play golf. He can't play like Gary Woodland but I'm just seeing how God can just give one individual that much talent. That guy beat some guys out there that's supposed to be basketball players. He outshot them with his baseball hat turned backwards. So just in case, that was Gary Woodland, if you didn't know, and that was a Jaylen Brown. He had his face mask on. He was just talking about, he was in the bubble. He's still in the bubble. And he's talking about the talk that he had with Breonna Taylor's mom. And it was what was so touching is about, he said the mom wasn't crying. The mom was just proud that somebody cares about her baby. Somebody cares about her baby. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. Where we go from here, Jimmy? What we got?
Oh man, tonight, who wins the game tonight? Boston, Miami.
All I can say, I ain't gonna tell you, man. I like Jimmy Butler, man. I'm not saying he gonna win tonight, but I'm liking Jimmy being a Robert Hatter. It's hard for me to cheer for Boston. Over the years, I've never cheered for him. I like the city, but I never cheered for them. One of my most pleasant visits to going to Harvard. Let me tell you something. I like Boston when I went for a visit, but just me and knowing the Boston and looking at the history with Bill Russell, he leaving town, he come back home, somebody had broken his house and got feces in his house and writing the N-word all over everything. Me and Boston, it's hard for me to cheer for them, Jimmy, but they got to win tonight. If they don't, welcome to Miami. But that's how I feel about it, Jimmy. My bad. I got to go with Jimmy Butler. And I know, hold on, Carson Edwards is on the other team, but Carson is a cheerleader right now. So I got to go with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is playing a little bit, a viable part of this team. So that's how I feel about it.
I mean, Jimmy Butler is understand. In his first game one, that wasn't even a monster game from Jimmy Butler from the offensive standpoint. He did everything that was needed to be done. Kind of like sometimes you watch the stat line of Jokic, and you see sometimes now he had the 22 rebounds in game one for Denver, but a lot of times that stat line is first with a triple double and it's nice, but it ain't just like thunderous. I think that Boston is the most talented team. Miami has that word that's coming back into play. Is going to probably be the word, has a chance to be the word of this season, of this quarter, is chemistry. And this is a great teachable moment for a lot of coaches out there to show like we see with Denver and we see it with Miami, the chemistry that they have and the way that they rally around their leader, and even to the point to where, think about it, those are the two of the only teams that was in the playoffs that their leader didn't have to score 30 in order to, you felt like he didn't have to score 30 and they still could win the game. Think about it. Jimmy Butler ain't got to score 25. Jokic ain't got to score 25. And they still have a chance to win the game. Now, Murray, a different story. I think Murray got to score 25 plus. But Murray isn't their chief. He's playing the solid role. And just like even with Batman and Robin got to turn into Batman, got to be capable of substituting for Batman on a sick day. And that's the thing. I like Miami. I like what Jimmy Butler is doing. I like how he's handling this stuff. Jimmy Butler's he wearing this stuff for real. He's not even shaving, y'all. A lot of guys, they got crisp edge ups.
Jimmy, you wrong for that shit. Don't. That's terrible. I don't like Andre Iguodala. Don't either. Man, them dudes look terrible on TV, man.
Man, he living. Understand? He's living in character. He said he's a business.
Comb your damn hair. That's what my mama would say. Comb your damn hair, son. You represent me in my house. Comb your damn hair. That's what my mama would have said. I don't care what you're doing.
And you know what? I'm surprised that the media, I guess they're waiting, because the Jimmy Butler story, they've been told often before.
That's been told.
But so if that don't mean, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to tell it again.
They just said it again the other day.
I mean, like, I'm talking about like the expose and come on back and interview John Urie or some stuff like. I'm just saying, go on back to the grassroots of it.
Hell no. If you just messed up the whole, maybe that's why they ain't came back and did it.
But understand, you got Buzz Williams, which was his head coach at Marquette. It's now at Texas
Coach,
A&M.
you got
You got
Alan
Tony
Branch.
Pimp-
You
you
got
got
Alan
Tony
Branch have an integral part of Jimmy.
So come back. So that would be the play. You interview all of them. So you interview one, you got to interview all. The amateur career. Go to Tomball High School. Come
to you, Coach. He the one said you didn't rank him high. You know we got to use that one. We got to come. I know why you mentioned this, Coach. You want to be a part of the move. I'm gonna make sure you come back.
No. I don't need to be a part of that.
Jimmy, you like that? Oh, so you don't like that stuff no more. You don't want your flowers.
No, I don't need. That's not. I didn't rank him high enough. That's the thing.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't get flowers for that. That's a pie in the face.
No, it's not.
No, yeah, it is.
Jimmy, he wasn't that good then.
So think about.
Oh. He was not that good then.
Okay, ditto for Damon Lillard. Ditto.
He wasn't that good.
Ditto for Steph Curry.
He really wasn't that good.
You know what? But people don't accept that. They flip it and say, hey, they didn't offer him. Well, you wasn't that good. Now, people in Houston, that would be the good. Now they can come and interview and ask me that question, and I can show them statistics that can support that.
You see what Alex said, Jimmy? What you remember where he was ranked in senior year on your rank?
I have to look in one of the magazines.
Okay.
I have to go in one of the magazines.
Okay.
And you know what? When we go to the commercial break,
Yeah.
the magazine is before the season. I go and pull up one of the cheat sheet books during our next commercial break, and make sure you bring that question back next segment. Whoever asked that question, and that way, and that's a good. That was 2000. Jimmy Butler was 2000 and what was it? 5, 6, somewhere around up in there. I'll go and look it up, and that's a good question right there. But yeah, a lot of people. That's a hell of a topic to segue into. And that's why. Is when a lot of times kids that have potential and are good, but then other people may see them at one time. Mm-hmm. And sometimes kids don't understand and aren't prepared in the same manner for which, let's say, like they have like youth pageants and stuff. You know, like them little kids go to those little beauty pageants, or let's say American Idol. You got a kid going to American Idol or what? I Got Talent or whatever they call it stuff, and they got 1 minute to perform this act. If they don't get it right, then no matter how great they can sing in church on Sunday, no matter how good they can tear a note up, they're gonna be judged on that moment.
Yeah.
And in basketball, a lot of times, I'm not certain that a lot of our youth understand that when they play in front of certain people, that's the equivalent of auditioning for American Idol, depending on what the stakes are, what position that person may hold. And what they would think is, okay, you play nonchalantly. So that guy, and then of course you have no idea what the next person done hyped you to that person. And that's a hell of a thing. I mean, do you think that a lot of these young people really don't understand what's at stake? And then the people are downplaying on the bad game, and they're downplaying, oh man, that ain't nothing. Man, forget him. You don't know what he's talking. But damn, this was audition.
Jimmy, you know what? A great point. I'm glad you brought that up. You know what? Instead of a break, I got to share a story with these parents, because I didn't realize when I mentioned, see, Jimmy, I keep forgetting people don't see every moment of this show. Everybody don't see every second of this show. And a couple of people just text me and said, man, I didn't know your son went to Cornell. Jimmy and Chris used to always call me Cornell's favorite dad. But Jimmy just said something so key. Cornell came down here for when they played, my son played for Westside. They played against Travis in the what you call that at the Campbell Center, Jimmy? The regional to go to to get ready to go to the state, right? So head coach came down there. It's about his 4th trip down to Houston, but This particular time, he came to see him play again. And he wanted to see him, Jimmy, play against whom, Jimmy? The Twins. Jimmy, the two of the best players in the country. In that game, he lost the game, but he outscored both of them in that game. And with a little bit more help, they could have upset them. But that moment, Jimmy, that night, coach said, done deal. Man, let's figure this thing out because we want you to play. And it's so unique, parents, and I know a lot of y'all don't, and I'm glad y'all are. A lot of y'all kids are probably way, much better and got a different aspirations for college basketball. My aspirations for my son since the 6th grade was to get him prepared enough to go to Harvard. 6th grade, I had a conversation with a gentleman named Alan Branch. We sit and talked about it. I said, man, I'm telling you, man, I went to Memphis. Man, I don't want him to have no Memphis education. Memphis education was a good education. TSU education is a good education. But me, I just wanted more for my baby, just like y'all wanted more for y'all son. So in the 6th grade, so we groomed him. I groomed him to make sure. By the way, in the 5th and 6th grade, he went to Kincaid Middle School, okay? To prepare him. The hardest, let's not talk about this homework, Jimmy. If the parents who go to Kincaid, they'll tell you, you get out of school at 3 o'clock, you're doing homework till 11 o'clock at night in the 5th and 6th grade. It's crazy. I ain't never seen nothing like it. But it prepared him. But Jimmy, the reason I'm mentioning this, because it's some more parents. If your kid, he might be gifted at basketball, but if he's on the smarter side and on the discipline side, I wouldn't say Robert was the smartest guy in the world, but he gonna see that task through. He got discipline. And Jimmy, they got a high academic camp this weekend. So I don't want to be selfish. I said any parent that's on a high academic track, you can email me at chopshophtx@gmail.com. I will direct you to the people that'll help you. So they got a high academic camp this weekend, Jimmy, in Dallas. It's called a high academic camp. Requirements, Jimmy. Check this out. What's the requirements in the test, in the camp? You got to have at least 1050 on the SAT in verbal math. You got to have at least a 22 on your ACT, and your GPA has to be at least 3.3. So what it is, y'all, high academic institutions are struggling to find good players that meet these qualifications, right? I'm not selfish. I want all of y'all kids, if y'all want to be able to go to this stuff, I'm about to help you out, how I got helped out. The prospect and the parents fail to understand the value of this opportunity. It would take me a whole show to explain to you the value of this opportunity and the things that it's been exposing my son to. Unbelievable. You got to have valid data. They're gonna give you valid data in this camp. Info on these levels of prospects. So a lot of y'all out here are smart students that can play basketball. But I know you might want to go to Kentucky. I understand that. If you can, go. But if you have a chance, contact Alan Branch of Texas Boys Basketball. And the reason it's not a commercial, this is something out of my heart, y'all. It changed my son's way of thinking. When he walk into a room, he say he got a certain air about himself. Man, I went to Cornell. Man, I'm about to go to Harvard. He has got accepted to Harvard Law School and the business school. He just got to pick out which one he wants. But guess what? The problem is now he wanted to go in person. Can't go in person right now, Jimmy. Can't go in person now. So guess what? So because of the benefits of being around like minds and being in a business atmosphere or academic atmosphere. So I didn't mean to stop this, but Jimmy said something that triggered me. And I just want every parent to at least have this opportunity. You don't have to, but that's it, Jimmy. I thought I'd just share that with people, because a lot of people don't see every minute of this show. But this something you need to share with a parent. It's a Mo Robert Hatter. Guess what the coach called me and told me? He said, I'm trying to find the next Robert Hatter. Kid just came up there, played hard, on everything in the record books at Cornell. He got everybody, was on national TV, played against every Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, every college you want to play to. But now he's thinking about owning the team because his mindset. So parents, we got some more of them out there. So I had to tell you that. God would not let me go another day without sharing that with y'all. But what else you got, Jimmy?
Now the question is Alan Branch still providing that service for pro bono as he did back in the past? I think Alan Branch now he's expanded his business now, and he runs a business now.
Coach.
Now back.
Coach.
That's
Coach,
a question.
I'm looking at this camp. This camp said $125. Let me tell you something. I'd have paid $1,000 to go to the camp if I can. Hold on. Looking at the result, no, I'd have paid $10,000 to go to the camp if you see the results that happened to my son. That's all. I'm not trying. Listen to me, y'all. I'm not giving you no commercial. I didn't even mean for you to go there, Jimmy. I didn't even mean for you to go there.
Yeah. Understand? Mm-hmm. Your son after his 11th grade season. Mm-hmm. Understand, it's not just add water. Mm-hmm. His resume was established on the high school ranks.
Yes.
Right. So understand, you gotta be able to, you gotta have that field, that side of the cup.
Okay. You're right. You're right.
Now there's not anybody.
Yeah.
Then a couple of months, not a couple of months, hell, a couple of weeks after his high school season ended, he joined the most notable, arguably the most notable grassroots program in the state of Texas. Mm-hmm. So I'll understand.
Good point.
Now that means you, and at that back in those days, if you was on the roster, you was validated.
Yeah. Oh, you got to be able to play. I'm glad you said that, Jimmy.
Nowadays, it's oh my God, you guys on the roster, you really gotta. You ain't sure. You really gotta. If you was on the roster back then, you were validated.
Right.
For 99%.
Yeah.
Of the people.
You was gonna play in college for free.
Yeah.
You was gonna get a scholarship if you was on that team. Yeah.
And then I don't remember the exact timeline on the Cornell thing, but I do remember one thing. I remember in spurts, he would get in the game because that team was one of the most watched teams of the entire country.
Yes, sir.
Not of the entire Nike circuit, in the entire country.
That's a good
so
point.
that means that team was box office. Yep. That team, because that team had Justin Jackson, Justin Winslow, Keith Frazier, Kelly Oubre,
Kadeem
Ladden, just to name off the top of my head, on that team.
Yeah.
So those guys, understand, I named 3 guys that's playing in the NBA right now. On that one grassroots team.
And 4 McDonald All-Americans. Keep going.
And 4 Mickey D's, yes. And so understand. And De'Aaron Fox, I think, got moved up at the end of the
No, he came the next year.
Oh, that was
next year.
Yeah. He played with Justice them. Okay.
Yeah.
Now understand, I don't remember the timeline, but that team had enough games where he would come in and play. And what college coaches look for, if you have a son that's in a situation like that, and is playing that reserve role for the first time in his life, he's coming off the bench. And it ain't just him. There's a couple other guys that
Kelly came off the bench. Kelly came off the bench.
Kelly Oubre showed this. But they started Juice. Juice was
Juice wasn't started. Juice was the first man off the bench.
That's what it was. Juice was the first man off the bench.
Yeah.
And I remember lot of college coaches, when those designer name kids go out the game, college coaches who are watching, who are paying attention, they're seeing if the lead is going to shrink. They're seeing now what if that lead is going to be 12 or is it going to be 15 with that guy in the game. And then there are certain coaches that's paying attention because they know they're there watching as, with their curious eyes, but they know good and well that they can't get as far as recruiting Justice Winslow or Justin Jackson.
Right.
They can't get none of those guys. They know that.
Yeah.
But they're watching, and some college coaches, for those of you who wonder why these guys gonna go all the way to EYB or the Peace Jam, why they gonna go there for? They can't get none of them dudes. Yeah, they can. Because every team has that 8 guy.
Yeah.
And that 8 guy, the stuff might not be going right. It might be and that's that guy that those lower schools can get. That's the truth. I know that for a fact.
Shit. I lived it.
I mean, seriously, every team has one of those kids.
Right.
That's because that kid goes and say, well, he's shooting at Kentucky or Duke, and it don't fall that way. And now, team players murder. But then I remember the end of the summer.
Yeah.
Fast forward to July. After that had happened, a lot of guys, which back then I really didn't have no problem with it because they had played so many freaking games because they were winning. Back then, it wasn't all showcase. It was tournaments.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you had to play 6 games for show to get down to Sunday. And that's how it was back then. So you go, a couple of those guys, maybe 4 of the starters, 3 for sure, they cashed out when they got to Vegas. They said,
Keith Frazier cashed out. That's the one I needed.
You know what? The cashed out mean that I done, like on the crap table, I done won.
I'm gone.
I don't need to play no more. I don't need to play no more. And I'm tired, man. I'm good. Y'all can play. And guess what happened? That the rest of those hoops guys, they moved up a couple of players from the 9th graders. I think one of them was the kid Jordan Adams. I think it was Jordan. I want to say it was Jordan Adams from Silsbee.
I don't remember.
Got moved. Yeah, it sure was, Hannah. Jordan Adams moved up.
Coach. It probably was. Coach, I don't remember. Coach, we didn't lose that many players. We still had Justice. Long as we had Justice, we was good. We had Justice.
You was missing 3.
Yeah.
Three fools say I'm not even playing. I'm not suiting up. And then you met the Mac Urban Fire.
Yes.
With Jaleel Okafor and those guys.
Hey, hold up. A pro gun. Rick Bronson's son.
Yes, Lil Bronson played.
Yes.
He plays for the Mavericks right now.
Yes. Yeah.
And the Houston Hoops beat those guys in the championship. Even to get to the championship, they were like the Denver Nuggets. They were playing with house money.
Sure
you were supposed to beat those guys. Next thing you know, they out there. They was unenthused, just going through the motion because they wasn't the real. They had already played the hoops in Nike play that season.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh man, we can handle them guys. And next thing you know, Apollo Creed got hit by that Russian.
Yeah.
And that's a blast to the past.
Yeah.
And speaking of grassroots basketball, guys, and guess what? In case you forgot, in 1 minute, well, by the next couple of minutes, we're gonna be going with that conversation that you guys been waiting for, and that is Lupe Nunez is going to join us on the Chop Shop real shortly. I said 1 minute, but maybe a couple of minutes, and we're gonna. Make sure you queue up your questions. Hit the share button if you hadn't done so already. And we're gonna go to a quick break so everybody can get what you got to do for a minute, and then come on back and let's go and take this thing in and talk some hoops and grassroots hoops that is. And also, Nupi, guess what? He got plenty of nuggets to drop you guys. Quick break and right back on the Chop Shop.
One thing to speak on what Mr. Dooley said. You know what I have a problem with? I have a problem with the John Thompsons and Tubby Smiths of society. I'm sick of them.
Why?
I'm sick of them. And I'm going to tell you why I'm sick of them. Is simply because there are a whole lot of white coaches who aren't successful. Blacks don't have to win the national championship to get an opportunity to coach. You know, and I have that, you hear that in relation to education, you hear that in relation to professors. You ask, why don't you have more black professors? I will take a black if he's competent. Well, hell, there's a hell of a lot of whites failing. All we want is an opportunity to get out there and to try, and a right to fail also. And respectfully, I'm saying that to you, not saying, you know, I'm sick of us having to be perfect to get the job. I don't want to be perfect to get the job.
Having said that,
Some have suggested, longtime observers of Georgetown have suggested that maybe his style of play has rejuvenated you as a coach.
It has. He's an exciting person. He's a challenge. That rejuvenates me. Talent rejuvenates me, certainly does. You know, we don't walk around here holding hands and singing the nursery rhyme. We're all so happy together here at Georgetown University. This is an educational institution.
we got it. Iverson. Yep.
Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, two black dudes that are the highest paid players in NFL history, decide we're going to come together. We're going to come together for unity. We're going to come together to say that we are all in this fight for the same thing. We want everyone to be treated equally. We want everyone to have the same justice system. We want everyone to get the same rights and protections that are theirs by law. So we're just going to come together and do it. We're not going to kneel. It's not going to mess up the anthem. It's not going to destroy your day in any way. And then J.J. Watt says, well, we just came together for unity. I don't really understand why people would boo. Well, I'm going to help him out. They're booing because you're doing stuff for black people. They're booing because you are saying that police brutality, social injustice against that community is wrong. That's why they're booing. Not because y'all linked up, not because white players are hanging out with black players and they see things the same way. It's about the thing you see the same way. It's about the injustices that they are incurring because of the way that this country sees a certain color of skin bothers them that you care. Because if y'all linked up for breast cancer, they're going to clap. If you link up for autism, they're going to clap. If you link up to pay homage or to say and honor veterans, they gonna clap. I know they gonna clap because I've been there and I've linked up for those things. But you linked up to say that black people need to be treated differently. That's the problem. This was the kindest, this was the most thoughtful, this was the sweetest way to protest or to demonstrate that we've seen ever. It's almost like it didn't even happen. And people still boo that. That tells you the type of evil, the type of racism that is truly the fabric of this country and how it was built. It's not going to change, and you're not going to change them. So these boys need to keep moving forward and keep fighting and keep standing because they are needed.
Welcome back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day on this baby Friday. We rolling, we grooving. Of course, Robert Howard and myself, Jim Hicks, and as promised, we have our special guest with us. Speaking of baby Friday, this is the guy who coined the phrase, well, who applied the phrase baby Friday to the Chop Shop. And that is Lupe Nunez, who co-founded the Texas Hard Work. First it was the San Antonio Hard Work program at first, which transformed into Texas Hard Work. And now he has recently announced that he's joining forces with JL3 Enterprises, and that is the grassroots program founded by John Lucas, which is under the Nike circuit. Lupe, what's going on, man? Welcome to the Chop Shop, boss.
Appreciate y'all having me, man. How y'all doing?
We're doing great,
man. Doc. Say, it's gonna be a good day. I got my stuff over here. Wait, I got a surprise for you later on. I'm gonna show you later on. I got something for you, and it's what it ain't what you think, but it's just gonna make you fall out your chair. And of all the days, that's sitting right there. And I mean, so man, let's get straight to it, man. Basketball, you know, the decision, the move. Under Armour, you got a deal in place, contract, active contract. Decided to just cash out and just, you know, and go and start younger with coaching, be able to watch your son now. What made that decision take place?
Jimmy, I'm not. It kind of came really fast, to be honest with you. As far as the decision of us to kind of do this, I was in a place probably about 6 months ago where I kind of asked myself, really, how long do I want to stay in this? And everybody always kind of assumed that whenever my son was done, that I was going to be done. What a lot of people don't understand is that I started with the class of 2021 when Boom Man and I, Terrence and I started this. We started this as parents, and that's how we got into this, right? Two dads trying to do best for their kids, putting a team together like everybody else starts with dads, with other friends who have kids in the same age and the same age group, and kind of, parlay it from theirs. And most people know the story. And so the 2021 group is really special to me because that's the group I first started coaching, right, early on. And it was a mix of 22s and 20s and 21s. And, starting the season, all our kids were committed, all but 2 kids. Even before AAU season started, we had 4 committed kids. Ramon Walker announced on your show, Jerome Corbett at LSU, Joseph Van Zandt at Liberty, and Manny Obaseki at Texas A&M. So there really wasn't a lot of pressure. We had 2 other kids, Colton Benson, who's got some offers, and Boom Man's son, Sean Jackson, who I think is pretty close to maybe making his commitment, from my understanding. But everybody was taken care of. So I was at a stage of, man, what's next? I believe that we had taken Texas Hard Work to the pinnacle of what we could take it to. We had 6 kids ranked in the top 150. 4 of those at one time were ranked in the top 50, and that's hard to do. I mean, on any circuit, right, under any circumstances. And you kind of sit back and say, shit, man, am I able to do that again? If so, how can I do that? And, coach reached out to me and kind of one conversation led to another. It led to another. And, I just felt that, everything has a shelf life. And I do believe that. I think a lot of people get stagnant with stuff, and by no means, I'm going to give an analogy. If you look at Whataburger, right? When Whataburger first started, it was French fries, burgers, and shakes, right? And then they added the chicken sandwich, and then they added chicken tenders, and then shit. Now you can get chorizo and egg taco at the damn Whataburger. They got breakfast. And so they had to evolve. They couldn't stay stagnant. We're talking about Whataburger. By no means am I comparing what we did to Whataburger, but at the same time, it's cyclical. Everything is, right? You see programs that are on top, and then you see programs that dip, and people say, oh, you know what? They're not as good as they used to be, et cetera. And I think it was time. I think it was time that, Terrence had seen both his kids go through. My son's has what he needs to this point. So we've accomplished what we started to do at the end of the day. We never got into this, looking to profit off kids. We didn't look into this. Nobody wanted to become no head basketball coach at a high school level, college level. We just start off as 2 dads trying to get their kids, wanting to help their kids through and help kids along the way. And it kind of parlayed into something pretty big. And I do enjoy it. I do love it. I do love helping kids. And when somebody like John Lucas reaches out to you and it's going to provide you a platform that is the largest platform in the world, it's something you really have to sit back and think about. And that's kind of, we kept it close to our chest. My wife didn't know until I want to say the Sunday prior to us announcing. And I didn't tell Austin until Labor Day, of what was going on. He kind of saw my tweet, and I told him I was getting out of Hard Work and I was done. And he kind of just thought, yeah, you know what, you always say at the end of every AAU season, but not really knowing what conversations were taking place. And so, man, I feel great about it. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to extend the brand with Coach Lucas and the rest of the team that we're going to put together and bring great basketball to Houston, San Antonio, Central Texas, and kids all around the state, to be quite honest with you. And it's something that I think has been my strength, has been able to take kids from different cities and being able to put them under one umbrella. And all of them have had success, even though they're traveling from West Texas, from Dallas, from Houston. And it's worked for us, and I'm very confident that it will continue to work.
Coach, I got one for you. Jimmy, hold on one second. I just got one for you. I'd just like to know who's going to coach the team. Do y'all have that? Is that been talked about yet? Has that been talked about? Who's going to coach the 17U team?
Robert, if you had a kid that was 17U and I was trying to recruit your son, that's probably a conversation that you'd be privy to. But since you don't have a son that I'm not recruiting at the 17U level, that's just information I'm not going to give you right now.
Okay. But guess what? Somebody asked that on the Facebook feed. They wanted to know. I'm
sure they did. Yeah. I'm sure they, Coach just got out of the bubble. I haven't seen him face to face. I'll be in town next week, and there's just a lot of stuff that we'll go through.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I know that. Hold up. That question had to be addressed at some point. I know. But Jimmy,
of course it did.
Yeah.
You
What
beat
got?
Jimmy to the punch, man. You beat Jimmy to the punch on that. You know Jimmy mad at you now. I know
That's
he
all
hit
right.
Jimmy to the
No,
punch.
but you don't have to think about it like this. You don't have to even ask that question. If you
Right.
have to ask that question, then that means you're looking for an excuse. Because ain't no way that he's had his son and he's not going to, for him not to coach, he's not there. And so either you gonna coach him from across the bench or you gonna coach him from sitting on the bench.
Oh, hold on. I ain't coaching shit. No. Let's get that straight. I'm not coaching. No. That's
You
what
gonna
y'all are asking.
that means you're gonna be on the other side of the court. So you're gonna be there.
I'll be sitting right next to you.
And
Jimmy.
Todd, Jimmy, just for you to understand, Todd Holmes asked that question. I was just
I got
asking a
you.
question
I know
for Todd
Todd.
Holmes.
Okay.
So that's
Just
so
take
that
a
so
look
that
at this Facebook feed since you think I asked that question.
and so that's why I presented it out there like that and to get
Sure.
you to go it on home with it so people understand. Richard Law is the coach of the 6 teams.
That's correct.
As it stands, that's not scheduled to change. Richard Law, John Lucas loves Richard Law and what he brings to the table. It was
Absolutely.
That team on paper was going to be a really, really good team on paper. But at the same time, every damn grassroots team in the country is really, really good on paper before they get out there and play together. But I want to get that disclaimer in there. But they look for a representation of the area. That was a pretty good team. That 15
Absolutely.
under team was coached by Marlon Lowe. That team on paper, which they actually played an event or two together, that team was going to be really good. And so
what
now
are you saying?
the thing is now, what Lupe just said, they're going to have some Central Texas presence with JL3 in Central Texas. Is that what you said, Lupe?
That's correct. That's correct.
So elaborate
what you
on
mean
that.
by that?
So that people understand.
I don't understand it. What do you mean by that?
So we're still, our whole goal is to bring basketball from Houston through Central Texas, right? We've already had a footprint here, right? So we already have teams. We have, 5th grade, or let me start 17U all the way down to 5th grade, right? And so we're just going to integrate everything, and so everybody will play under the same brand, everybody wear the same colors. The top kids will play on the travel teams that are top travel teams, and then we have your development teams, just like any other organization has currently right now.
Okay.
So it's basically an easy numbers, right? If you have 50 kids in your program and I had 50 kids, we now have 100 kids in our program. It's really simple, right? And they're just from different geographical areas that all come together for one common goal.
Okay.
And I mean, that's so now going back the decision. You said you didn't tell your son until Labor Day. And you didn't tell your wife until the week before.
That Sunday before.
The Sunday before Labor Day.
Correct.
How were those conversations received?
So what a lot of people don't know, my wife ran professionally for Nike for 7 years. So, she said, should I get to come out of the closet again? Now, my wife's straight, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Talking about to wear her Nike gear.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So she was excited. I prayed on it, before I told her, and I talked to her, and I just felt it felt right. I felt it was time. I've always been one who likes to control my own narrative. And, I felt that this new shift in paradigm, because we'd had our conversations. I thought about maybe getting out, about 6 months ago. And she says, we ain't gonna sit around the house and drive me crazy. You gotta find something to do. And so, and it made sense, when her and I spoke, and once I told her, and she was excited about it. And, at the end of the day, it's like I told, Austin, he was shocked, he was, because what a lot of people don't know is people who start programs and they start with these, they start young, right? And everyone has this big dream. And we got this great 5th grade group and the parents love it. And we have barbecues together and we all go eat pizza together and we go eat at the restaurants afterwards together. And we're going to be together forever. And it's partnerships, teams, and marriages. They only work 50% of the time. And you guys, we all know that, right? And so moving forward, those teams, how many times have we seen it? 1 kid fall off, 2 kids fall off, 3 kids fall off. So what I'm trying to get to is from the time we started this program, of all the kids that have gone through, I want to say there's only 2 kids that have started with us that finished with us. And both those kids are Boo Man's boys. Jalen, it is what it is.
Wow.
Now we had Gerald Liddell. Of course, he left, that last year to go play Nike. And so there's still like even my own son won't finish as a hard work because he'll finish under a different brand, under a different name. And so for the lot of people out there who feel, man, I'm gonna see it all the way through with a certain team, man, it's tough. And I'm not saying that we didn't want those kids to stay. What I'm trying to get to is you have to competitively stay on top of it and not get comfortable. Because people like me who sit in my chair sit in the same chair in their organization, and they're looking at the 7th grader to become an 8th grader, the 8th grader to become a 9th grader. And the biggest transition, as you two guys know, is 16U to 17U. That's the biggest jump, is what people don't realize. They say, man, this kid was really good on 16s. But people don't realize the best 16s sometimes play 17s. So it's a little biased. It's a little skewed, to say the least. But going back to the reaction, he was shocked. He was, he kind of looked at me and I think, took a little bit to sink in, that was my first phone call to him. And I mean, not first phone, excuse me. That was my conversation with him. Then of course, talking to Big Vince and letting him know, hey, some stuff's going to come out because he's not, he's in La Lumiere now. And he was a little disappointed initially because one, he people don't realize is Vince never played on our very successful middle school teams that were top 3 in the country for 3 consecutive years. I mean, I'm talking about this kid played 2 minutes a game, 5 minutes a game. I mean, never started. Last year was the first time he ever started in our organization. And so for him, it meant a lot because he understood who got him from point A to point B. And his family does too. And kind of explained to him, he's kind of new to the game, right? He didn't grow up in grassroots basketball as a 4th grader, 5th grader, and understand the Nike battles with Adidas and Under Armour and all that. So for him, he's like, I just want to go play. Of course, you've got the people lurking in the background that all have their opinion, just like in every city and in every situation. But for him, it was, man, I'm not going to finish this hard work. And I said, no. And I explained it to him. And I said, man, it's a bigger, better platform. And, and once it all kind of sunk in, they were both comfortable and they're both excited. And, they can't wait till, we get started. And that's kind of how the reaction was. A lot of positive feedback. I mean, I told you, I probably had 70 text messages in the first 2 hours from making the announcement. I had 5 high major head coaches reach out to me regarding it. I mean, so it was a much bigger deal than I ever would have anticipated. And coach got the same positive reaction. Everybody was positive. Even me on the way out. I mean, I've made some brothers over there at Under Armour when I was there. I consider them family. I still do. That was probably one of the hardest decisions because of the personal relationships I had built with them. And even they were, as positive as you can be, I mean, it's one of those deals where I did it the right way. I let them know about 10 days in advance before anybody else knew. And I told them, give me a couple of days to call the people I'm close to within that company so I can let them know why, what I'm doing, I'm leaving, and what my decision was based on. And it was nothing personal. It was just the best business decision moving forward, helping kids, is the way I looked at it.
When was your contract set to expire?
I was actually going to get renewed. We were renewing our contracts this year. So I walked away from a tier 1 contract with also the ability to place a undeniable deal at a high school.
Explain that to a lot of the viewers
Undeniable.
and listeners,
Yeah.
right?
Explain
And
it.
So Under Armour has what's called an undeniable program, which they
and the tier 1. Explain that too. Both of them, tier 1 and the tier 1 and the high school.
Sure. Tier 1 is the top level, right? Is whatever amount of cash they're going to give and the amount of allotment they're going to give the programs considered tier 1. Then you go down tier 2, tier 3, right? And even within those tiers, right, there's probably a parameter. I'm going to use simple numbers, right? I'm going to use, $100 to $200 is tier 1, 50 to 100 is tier 2, 0 to 50 is tier 3, and from there they'll kind of move those numbers around. And same goes with allotment, which allotment is product that is given to the programs for free. The high school deal is undeniable. Under Armour outfits, I want to say it's 15, maybe, I think it's 15 or 20 basketball programs around the country, like IMG being one of them, where they, provide their jerseys, their shoes, all their wear, their travel wear for the coaches, the players, managers, walk around shoe slides, et cetera, right? So you can, as most people don't know, but every high school works with a budget. Every athletic department has a budget, right? So I'm going to budget X amount of dollars for my basketball program. They can now either use those funds and move them over to football or baseball or whatever they want to do with it. It allows those high schools financially to not to have to spend out of their own pockets. So last year, Cornerstone was an undeniable program, and they got all the benefits of it. This year, Wagner was going to be an undeniable program, and which of course there no longer will because I'm no longer with the brand.
Wow, and so now you mentioned the level tier. How many different tiers are there with Under Armour?
You know, Jimmy, I don't know. Honestly, I'm assuming 3. I didn't. You know, I think 3. I think 3.
And so now looking back on it, for people that understand, a lot of teams from this part, from Texas, Louisiana, the Arklatex, that's what they called it back in the old days. Those joined states have played on the secondary tiers of various sneaker grassroots circuits. I think Adidas has one. Nike doesn't officially have one, but you know, it's something that they tournaments that was similar. But when you're looking back on those, just have some educational moments.
Sure.
What are the pros and cons for a grassroots program to go, and not even just saying not no particular sneaker program circuit, to go and play in the secondary circuit?
That's a great question, Jimmy. I think that, man, how do I break this down, right? So let's say you take Team A that's from San Antonio, Rise. So I'm going to speak about what I know, right? So I know the UA Rise, and that's a secondary market. It's a secondary tournament, excuse me, that has, I want to say, maybe 36 teams from all around the country, right? So they have their own tournament within a tournament, right? So if we're playing, or actually if UAA is playing, you know, somewhere in, let's say, Kansas City in the first live period, and then the UA Rise would be there in the same gym, same facility, et cetera. What a lot of people don't understand now, you know, they do have, you know, every now and then you'll get a high major on a few programs. The majority of those teams, they're going to have your mid-major minus, low major, Division II NAI players, right? When you start, you know, 1 through 3 are going to be your better players, and then you're going to see the worst drop off from probably 4 or 5 down the road. I mean, they're still scholarship recruitable kids. The benefit is that they get to play in front of teams coaches from different areas around the country. I personally, if I was doing that, I'm not sure, looking back now as I've seen it in the last couple of years, if it's not more beneficial, right? If you have a group of kids, and as a coach, this is a coach in a program that has to understand the differences, that these kids are going to have more success getting recruited locally by local colleges, and their recruitable, you know, whatever their recruitment is it better to go play in a so that light period? Is it better to go play in the GMI during that light period instead of spending $5,000 traveling to, I don't know, the Jerry Mullins? I'm just going to throw that name out there because I know he's got a big tournament in St. Louis, because I'm not so sure how many of those coaches are willing to take a chance on a kid from, I'm going to say San Antonio, and say, dang, am I taking the San Antonio kid, or am I taking a kid from St. Louis? Because St. Louis is 2 hours away. San Antonio's a 3-hour flight. The kid gets homesick, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of pros and cons. You know, if you're not getting anything from this area and you've tried it, maybe I get it. Then you know what? Go take the kids, take them out of state, or maybe do one a trip. I'm not sure if your whole schedule and never playing in the state is beneficial. And you're a statistician. I mean, you probably know that better than I. I'm curious to know those teams who do travel outside of the state consistently instead of traveling in the state, what their scholarship ratios are versus those that stay within the state. Because and I'm going to ask you, Jimmy, team doesn't play in your event. They got 3 kids from Houston that are low major basketball players, and they've not played in one of your event, and you've never put eyes on them, but you know them. Maybe you saw them in the high school. How much can you help that kid?
I mean, how much can I help that kid? I mean,
or will you help that kid?
It's going to be out of sight, out of mind. And so it's not like I'm thinking about that kid and purposely not going to help him.
Right.
But it's going to be out of sight, out of mind, unless that kid or that parent directly contacts me and says, "Hey, you know, Mr. Hicks, I'm sorry we ain't come." But that's not likely. Like you, and that's to answer your question. It's not likely. That's why I tell people all the time: you have choices and consequences. So when you make your choice to go somewhere, then you're going. If you're going for exposure, that and passing up somewhere else, then you need to be mad at them.
I agree. I mean, there's something to be said about that. I think that as program directors or people who sit in the chair of some influence on parents and within the organization, I think they owe it to them to say, we're going to go play in this and this is why. And you have to be able to come back with results. You know, we have second teams, right? I could have easily put our second teams on the UA Rise, and I never did that. I didn't do it. I could have. I sat on the board of Under Armour. I had influence to do that.
And why not?
Because it was more beneficial for those kids to play in front of local coaches, in front of local scouts, in front of local media that can help place that kid. If I took them with me to Kansas City, I have no relationships with anybody in Kansas City. I have no relationships with nobody outside of, you know, if we played in Sacramento or if we go play in New York or Florida or wherever the event's going to take place. It's hard. You know, so at the end of the day, all you're doing is traveling to travel. I just don't agree with that unless there's a prime benefit. And I've got 10 college coaches that are recruiting 3 of those kids saying, man, I'm going to be at this event. Then you know what? It's a conversation I have with the parents to say, hey, man, let's go do this. And this is why. But I mean, they played in the Gassos. I mean, they played in your event, Jimmy. You know, I mean, I just felt that was the most beneficial thing for that particular group and their recruitment levels was to stay local. I'd be cheating them if I took them out of the state. I mean, that's just me personally. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's just me.
Jimmy, you want to go? You want to extend on that?
No. Go on. That's. I mean, I'm letting the answer soak in.
Okay.
Because you know, and I'm allowing a lot of the viewers to let the answer soak in because he's preaching from the perch of an administrator from his grassroots previously. You know, so and he's just said the reason once again. He did not let his own teams, regional teams, go and play in the second and third tiers for the reason that it can help benefit them kids to be locally recruited because a lot of those coaches in that area knows those kids already. That are stars, red ants in their respective ant beds or whatever high schools they come from. Go on, Hal. I mean, that's
I mean, I've never looked at it like that. You know, that's why I'm not a program director. But and sit on the board of a shoe company. But but Loopy, I got a question for Stacy. He asked it about 10 minutes ago. He said, will Nike let you recruit Dallas kids?
You know, we haven't had those conversations. Okay. Like I said, I haven't had those conversations yet.
Okay. Good. I like that.
But one thing about it, you send kids in your reach, you back on the prowl then, right?
I'm on the prowl now. I'm on the prowl. Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Loopy, is the circus or the circus this from Herbert D? With all that stuff that's been going on, will the circuit start cutting back, or do you see a trend just by you knowing the industry? Are the circuits going to cut back on teams and streamline teams, or do you think?
You know, that's a corporate decision, right? That corporations make. I mean, I'm not sure when each one of them or when they make them. I mean, it's right. You're going to think that the common denominator with COVID and there's no money financial. Actually, there's no money, but everyone's taking a hit. I don't care who you are, right? You've taken a hit financially, you know, with COVID. So it could affect some programs. It could affect some, you know, circuits. It could affect some companies. I'm not sure how it particularly affects each one because I haven't been in those conversations and I haven't heard anything. But at some point, there is going to be a trickle down. And whether that means, I mean, let me think about this, guys. Even if you have a shoe contract and there's such a big misnomer that, oh, man, you guys are getting paid and there's so much money. No, there's not. And so there's got to be a deficit made somewhere. There's always a deficit somewhere. At some month, sometime, how are we going to get here? Because we already got over here and money gone, right?
Right.
And I mean, how many companies are going to be willing to cut checks now, right? They used to donate X amount, right? So there might be a lot of programs that might, and it's a hard thing to do, but I'm not sure how that they might have been pretty powerful at some point, right? Because they had a lot of financial backing and in the particular areas, right? And we got to think of different regions that have been hit harder. I think here in Texas, because the state has been open for the most part more than the rest of the country, let's all be honest, right? Hasn't been hurt as maybe some other states that are still closed, and they're not, their economies might take 2 years to come back. And they had the guy that used to give 50,000, the guy that could give 10, the guy that gave 15, right? So you've got some programs that do have a shoe contract that are sitting back and saying, shit, man, how are we gonna get around now? You know, how are we gonna move around? Because there is always a deficit, and it comes from somewhere, guys. I mean, shoot, man, I don't know where it comes from. It comes from somewhere, right?
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Another one for you. What are you gonna do? Because I keep Alpha Yo VZ keep asking this question. What are you gonna do with all your Under Armour gear? What you gonna do with it? I mean, you just gonna put it in the garage and leave it? Cause I had a lot of Adidas stuff and all that. I just gave all that stuff away. So I mean, I just wanted to know what you going. And you might be sentimental to you because you was on the board. So it might be sentimental to you. What you gonna do with all that gear? Because you had gear for days. Huh?
I do. Yeah, that's you know what, of a lot of those, I'll say about 5 of those text messages of the first 70 I got was, hey man, can I get dibs on the coat? Hey man, can I get? I promise. I'm telling you. No congratulations, man. I'm glad you're making moves. Like, hey man, what you gonna do with all that gear? No good morning, no nothing. I'm like, damn, this guy really just want to get right to the closet. So man, I'll give it away. I'll give it away.
That's awesome.
Well, Alfio, we tried. Y'all both about the same size, man. We tried to get you plugged in, you know. Now, what is the scuttlebutt of who's likely to get that vacated Under Armour deal in Texas?
You know, and I won't say who I plugged, but I did plug somebody on the way out, you know, because it was the right thing to do.
I like that.
You know, I did say that I do feel that, you know, they probably need a presence in a major metropolitan area in Texas that doesn't have that, and you guys can figure out what city that is. And there was someone within that city that I felt would, you know, a good person, good people. I think you do a good job. And I say, man, and I was already going to try to plug them in, you know, regardless. You know, even if I would have stayed, but on my way out, I said, man, I think this is somebody you guys really need to look hard at. I'm not going to mention who it is because, you know, people's feelings get hurt. But I think that, you know, and I'm not sure they go that route. I'm not sure they get back into Texas. I'll be honest with you. You know, it was already a tricky state for them. I think that, you know, the years that I was here, we were able to help stabilize it a little bit, you know, and I'm not sure they come back in. I'm not, you know, they're very East Coast heavy. You know, I could see them easily, you know, going back and going with the East Coast team or, you know, or something like that. So it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see who they bring in. But, you know, offline, Jimmy, you and I can have a conversation I know who they would plug in if they decide to come in Texas.
And I mean, now getting a sneaker deal, explain, we've had various grassroots personnel and figures been on the Chop Shop throughout the years, and they've entertained this topic as well and elaborated their thoughts. How do getting a grassroots sneaker deal, explain the method of what has to happen or what is likely to happen before you to get seriously be considered for a sponsorship for your 17th?
First I'm gonna say timing and luck. I'll be outside of, you got to have everything else in place. You got to have your cards in place. You got to have a great program. You got to be able to do things the right way. But there's some timing and luck. What a lot of people don't know is Rob Lanier plugged us in. You know, Rob Lanier was who plugged us in at Under Armour. You know, we were that year before we were on the EYBL when we had that was Gerald Liddell's freshman year. We had that really talented 2018 with him and DJ Peavy and Tristan Green and you know, Russ Barlow and a couple of those kids, some Dallas kids, some San Antonio kids, right? And we played in, you know, the UYB. I mean, that's the UYB, all right. The 15U division, and we were under the D1 shooters kind of umbrella, and it was just one group. It wasn't our whole program, right? So, Nick Blatchford, who was at the time grassroots director for Under Armour, no longer is now in the agent world. He and Rob were very good friends, and so Rob and Booman used to train at time Rob's son. And so he and Booman had a very good relationship. And, Nick was looking for somebody in Texas, and Rob kind of plugged us in and said, man, these guys are kind of come from the same cloth you are. A lot of people know is Nick Blatchford started New Heights in New York City. And so he's one of the probably the few guys that started from a true grassroots. He started that New Heights basketball organization and saw it through, and then rose through the ranks, and Under Armour, now he's off to other things. So that's how it started. I mean, we got plugged in by someone at a high level, right? Rob Lanier is a very influential, man in basketball. And at the time, he was the assistant coach at University of Texas, which is a pretty big brand, right? And so it takes that. I mean, you got to have players, you got to know what the hell you're doing. And that's a whole different conversation, right? If you have all of that, it still doesn't guarantee you're going to get a deal. It's a relationship-based business. You have the right relationships with the right people, and it is timing and luck. They so happen to be looking to place someone in the state of Texas. We so happen to have some talented kids at the time, and it so happened we got lucky. I mean, timing and luck, and we took that and expanded on it. So I'm not going to sit here and say we had the magic ingredients and we knew exactly what the hell we were doing and we knew that was going to happen. It's not true, because I've seen a lot of people with a lot of talent that don't have a deal. And guess what? At 16 and 17, that talent's gone. They're going to go play for a shoe team. It's irrelevant. It is inevitable. The majority of the time, there's some teams that have done a great job that have been able to keep their kids independent and have had some success. But those stories are a lot less than the other side of it.
Yeah, indeed. And a lot of people, and you mentioned the 15U and younger. It is very rare that very rare. You can count them on one hand. In the past 10 years, that a 15U team and below has actually gotten dollars of sponsorship from the sneaker company, earmarked directly for them. That's been right. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, I don't know any. I'm saying, but yeah, earmarked for them is the correct terminology. That program might get X amount of dollars. That's what the 17 to move around. That's.
Well, I mean, we know that's what I just put 10 years to give people a reason to go back and want to search it. But it's happened probably maybe twice, if all, in the past, and both of those have taken place in the past 2 summers. In the past, right. And that's, of course, one that happened up in Michigan with one of the young fellas who
he's different, Jimmy. He's different.
Well, I'm just saying that's what it would take.
Yeah. That's right.
So a lot of times, the grassroots basketball sector, you went through the rigors of it really fast. That area, ASAC. You mentioned earlier you mentioned Gerald Liddell, that he played for you. He's not the only player that you lost that was pretty much a nationally ranked on all-American type player. You lost about almost a half dozen players.
So we lost Gerald Liddell from 16s to 17s. Then the following year, Jamias Ramsey, who's going to be a first-round pick. Then Micah Peavy. So this year was the first year we retained our top player, which was Jarrell Colbert, who was the top-ranked returning player. And Manny Obaseki used to play with me in middle school and played with me his freshman year. His sophomore year, played with Moody Elite. He wanted to stay on the Under Armour circuit. So there was already a relationship there with his family and his uncle and myself. He played for me when nobody knew who he was, And so I was able to, get Manny to play with us this year. And, so he wasn't with me at 16, so I can't say I retained him. I went, he played in my program prior to, but, Jarrell, you could say, was the highest ranked returning player that we had in our program that did stay this year. And so, yeah, those are the challenges, when you have players, and we had players, and it said something about what we were able to do without having the world's largest platform, which, now we're on it.
I was looking at and responding to a lot of the. We get to some of the questions in the boom boom room. A lot of guys have questions out there. And Stacy, if you, I had to refresh my screen, and so if you have your question, please repost it. And so that way I can get right now. Want to because we got so questions won't get bombarded and backlog. And how do you can queue up a couple of those questions as well, maybe,
I'm
and throw
looking for
throw them
something
on the
worth something.
screen and throw them on the screen. Meanwhile, somebody Rod asked Rod asked what high school is your son attending this season?
He goes to San Antonio Wagner.
He goes to Wagner, and so he will be playing with Wagner, and so Wagner's probably going to be wearing what? I mean, they wore Under Armour last year, didn't they?
They did.
So
they're an Under Armour district.
Okay.
Okay.
All they got to do is wear Under Armour jerseys.
Boy, I can't wait to see that. You wouldn't dare do that. You wouldn't dare do that.
Yeah. But Jimmy, I found out though, because I've had that talk with somebody who's in an Under Armour district, and if I came in and just furnished them their gear, and Under Armour didn't have to go out and pay for this gear, then they can wear it.
That's correct. That is correct. That is absolutely correct. If the district allotted monies and they spend the monies on that particular item, they better wear that item. Yeah. If they don't have to spend the money on it, what district in the world is going to say you can't wear it, especially in these times?
Yes.
You know that's a hell of a topic, and I one day in the next couple of weeks, I'm waiting to news, but we'll get one of the coaches from back in the days. Well, hell, I can't tell a story that you know who the coach is, but he's going to join us back on the Chop Shop. And remember back with T.J. Ford and Willie Ridge them? And Willie Ridge in those days, the turn of the millennium. Of course, that T.J. and Daniel and Kenny, about 4 or 5 of those kids, they played with John Urie on the Houston Superstars and Sonny Vaccaro flooded them with Adidas product. And they went, and the district had a deal with another sneaker line. And that athletic director ended up declining that team from wearing what they wanted to wear. The athletic director said, "No, you're not."
You know where Sonny Vaccaro went wrong? He forgot to bring a box for the athletic director.
That's what he forgot to do, and that's all it would have taken. Guess what? John Urie probably forgot to do that. That's what he probably. You're absolutely right. That's all it would have taken was a love kit, a blessing kit for that AD, and it would have been on. Now you got your first question queued up.
No, yeah, I got one. I got one right now. Do you think your players' performance in AAU grassroots or their performance on their high school team make more of a difference in their recruiting, one versus the other? This is from Alex Castero.
Well, if it's the same set of eyes watching you both times, so if the college coach is seeing you in an AAU environment, which a lot of times is more going to be geared to what translates to college, I feel personally, versus high school where you might have like a Gerald Liddell, right? Gerald Liddell played the post, right? They just put him in the post all the time because he was the tallest guy, and that gives their high school team the best chance to be successful with him playing at that position, right? So if a college coach goes and watches him and sees him there, he knows he's not going to put him on the block. I mean, Gerald Liddell, he posted up one time at UT that I know of, and if he has, that's not his role, So to answer his question, I think it depends on who's watching you and what they're looking for. So there's times that you can perform at a really good level in AAU, but where I think people get lost is how many of what you did in high school. Sorry, in high school, how much of what you did truly really translates? How many of those baskets were at the rim? And knowing you're a 5'9", 5'10" guard, and that doesn't translate to the next level because there's a 6'9", 6'10" guy waiting for you. And so it depends on who's watching. I think it depends on who you're competing against. And I think it depends on how much that particular player is showing what translates. Because you can still play in high school and show what translates, but you just have to do different things to help the team win.
What's next? What you got next, Adam? What
No, I'm
question?
good. I'm good. I'm just watching. They haven't said nothing good. They ain't heard. Hey,
What
hey, look, hey, they nobody gave me a comment worthy of asking you right now, Luby. So just hold
what
on a minute.
what? And Doug Jones says that he has his
Where's
shirt.
my shirt? Where's my shirt, Doug? You know
He
what?
say
I got a story to tell about Doug.
he say
Hold on.
he got a shirt for you from Port Arthur, and he gonna you're gonna be validated whenever you come down there. Especially knowing that one of the Port Arthur former Port Arthur residents is plays with JL3, and so now you got to wear that shirt now.
Oh, Jimmy, let me tell you something. I've been asking for that shirt for 2 years. Is what most people don't understand.
What shirt?
And it's so funny.
What shirt? What shirt?
Trill. I wanted a Trill shirt. You know,
Oh.
and he go, I got you. Every time he sees me, he says, I got you, right? The minute we make the announcement, it's a true story. Guys, Doug, I'll go back and I'll screenshot when he called me. And the time he calls me, he goes, man, I just want to let you know, congratulations, all great. I got your shirt. I said, man, it took you 2 years and me to go Nike and for you to get my shirt. Man, Doug was holding out on me, Jimmy.
Doug got you, man. I know Doug got you. He got you. And also, I'm looking. No, that's not a question. I was trying to pull up another question for you. If you guys have questions for Loopy, you speak now, forever hold your peace in regarding to grassroots basketball.
Oh, he said,
or,
I got you, Jim. I got one for you. I got one. Courtney Dion said, how good JL3 going to be? I mean, the merger. What is going to call JO? What is going to be called? What is going to be called?
JL3.
JL3. It's just going to be called JL3, the whole thing. So how good are they going to be? And I think he's talking about the 17 and under team. How good you think they can be?
I think they can be, on paper, right?
Yeah,
everything's on paper right now. Yeah, I mean, one of the more talented groups in the state for sure, and go out there and compete on a national level. I mean, that's what we're doing this for. We're not trying to build, teams that can't make peach jam. So I personally believe with the pieces that we'll be able to put in place will be a very competitive team at a national level, not only a state level.
Yeah. And I mean, once again, if you guys just tuning in, this is Lupe Nunez. He's one of the co-founders with Texas Hard Work that was recently on the Under Armour circuit for the past few years. And they have landed the plane with that program. And Lupe is agreed to join JL3 for the upcoming grassroots season. And they will, if you missed them, just recapping, they also plan to establish and some grassroots programs in the Central Texas area, in that ASAC area, Austin, San Antonio, Killeen, primarily, but not limited to that area, as under that JL3 umbrella. And those will be independent, not necessarily, independent of the obligated teams under the JL3 that will be going on the Nike circuit. Now, what are you hearing now for Under Armour and their circuit next summer?
They're going to have a circuit. I mean, they everything got approved as far as their budgets moving forward, et cetera. This is prior to me leaving. They'll have a circuit. I mean, I don't know, to what extent, how many stops, I mean, nobody really knows right now, right? Because we're all kind of at a standstill of the life periods. We don't know how that's going to move. Does it get pushed to June? Does it get pushed into May? We don't know. But as far as them moving forward, from my last understanding, they're going to have a circuit and they are moving forward. Yeah.
What you hearing about Adidas circuit?
And I'm not in that loop, so I couldn't even tell you.
And so now camps, regional camps, what purpose do they serve? Whom do they benefit most? Explain the camp game. I mean, you never operated them, but your kids had to attend them. So break down so people can understand the layers of camps out there.
It's just like recruitment level, right? You have high majors that get recruited at a high level. You have high level camps. You got the NBA top 100. You've got the Nike, elite camps, right? That are usually, for the top tier kids. And then you have other levels of recruitment, mid-major, low major, Division II, et cetera. So I think if if you're a parent and you have a kid who's been playing in front of college coaches, right? And they've seen them, right? Whatever event it could be at, wherever it's at, you know, it's your event, it's Alan Branch's event, it's the Gasol, whatever it could be. And they're not getting the type of feedback that they're looking for. I think it's crucial for those kids. Sorry about that. I think it's crucial for those parents to take those kids to those local camps, whether it's be the ones in their area and those regional camps, to play in front of a live stream, to play in front of especially someone who's respected. And let me say something, guys. A lot of people put camps on. I mean, now I'm seeing it everywhere. So there's goddamn camps everywhere. You better go to a camp where the operator has relationships with college coaches and knowing, because everybody can say they're live streaming. Hell, we could live stream this to all over the world. Doesn't mean anybody in freaking France is going to be watching us unless we have a relationship in France with somebody in France log in and watch us. And so whomever's having that regional camp, you better be sure that they do have those college coach relationships, knowing they're going to be tuned in, knowing that when that coach says, hey, man, who is that number 128? And that operator can say, oh, man, that's Robert Hatter. He goes to Creek High School, you know, 6'4", whatever. You know, what's his recruitment level like? What do you think? I said, man, I think he's a little under the radar. It's those phone calls from those coaches to someone's lens that they trust, who's putting on that live stream, is crucial for parents to flock to those. I'm not going to sit here and endorse anybody, but I'm just saying you've got to do your homework. It's not hard. You know, do your homework and ask, you know, before you go spend $125 or $200, I don't know what these camps cost, and say, man, what are you offering my child? I was going to be like, who's watching? 50 coaches. Well, what coaches? You know, what 50 coaches are watching? You know, or am I able to, you know which coaches are watching? Give me some feedback. You know, can I call you back in a week and ask you how many of those college coaches reached out and asked about my child? You know, and is the event operator willing to do that? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that business model very well, but I just do know if I'm a parent and I was in that situation, I'm asking those questions, because I'm not going to just give you $150 for you to go put that shit on some live stream and just say a bunch of coaches are watching. I ain't getting no feedback. That's just me personally. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's wrong.
I got a question for you, Loopy.
Sure.
I'm thinking about this because I guess you good at it. Alex Sestero asked another question. He said, how do you keep all those egos in check and stroke all of these superstar teams? You know, and kind of like coaching a dream team when the 8 NBI's guys join together. How do you have a knack of being able to make that happen?
Man, you know, it's what's going to translate to the next level, right? You hear a lot of people say, man, the biggest adjustment for a lot of kids from high school to college is the speed of the game, like this from 16s to 17s, right? From your district, you go to the playoffs and you go and face better teams. The speed of the game, right? Well, when you get to college, guess what? All 12 of those guys, shit, they are just as fast. I think about when you're at practice and you'd say you've got 3 really good players on your high school team. When you get those reps, you're getting those high level reps. But you can rest those other 5 reps because you're just playing against Lil Jon. Lil Jon's going to go to college and be successful, but he's not going to go play college and he's not at your level. So you get to rest for those 5 reps, and you only got to go, I don't say go hard, but you're going to be challenged for 3 reps. When you go to college, I don't give a damn if it's 1 or 12, you're going to be challenged for all 12 times. So getting those kids to understand, hey, man, you're going to be playing with other high-level kids if you want to be a high-level kid. If you're a high major, you're going to play with other high majors. So you've got to learn how to play with high majors. There's very few people. It's the 1% of the 1% that get to be the guy. So being able to get kids to understand, the hardest part of getting talented teams to play together is getting them to understand how to play with other high major players, how to teach an alpha how to play with an alpha. You know what? Because most times when I'm an alpha, if there's an alpha next to me, I'm going to say, man, pass the fucking ball. He's like, shit, man, you've been shooting. I'm going to shoot it. The hell with you. How are you going to react? Oh, whoa, shit, I'm not used to anybody talking back to me. I'm used to being the dude on my team. So getting them to understand it, sometimes you got to let them fail. Sometimes you have to let them fail in order for them to see, and I told you it's not going to work your way, and build them back up. And then they get to see the light at the end of the tunnel, because you're right. It is hard, right? And I think it's not even the venue of the kids. It's the parents. More the parents than the kids.
That's what we
kids
talk about.
Kids.
That's what they
I'm
talk.
sorry.
That's,
I'm sorry. I went on a tangent.
How
Let me
you
tell my
handle
parents.
them damn parents?
Same way I'm going to tell the parent, do you think you're going to be able to walk in Buzz Williams' office after he gave your son a $300,000 job, which is a scholarship, and say, hey, man, how come my son ain't playing? I said, well, shit, man, there's a lot of other kids that like this $300,000 job. Man, ain't even going to answer the door probably. I mean, maybe he will. I don't know. I'm just throwing a name out there for A&M, right? Or any college coach. That's the reality of it.
Right.
You know, I mean, the communication's big and transparency is big. Showing the plan early on. This is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. And guess what, Hatter? Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes two parts just can't come together. That's no harm, no foul. Everybody just kind of keep going on their own way. And one thing we won't do is we won't hurt a kid by putting him in a situation that's not right for him. Now, the parent might not agree with that, right? Because, you know, as well as I do, every parent thinks their kid's a point guard, right? Everybody's a point guard. Everybody's a point guard. I mean, everyone. My 6-year-old, my 6-year-old's a franchise. He's a point guard. I mean, I'm telling you right now, my kid's a point guard. He's 6 years old. I'm just, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Everybody want to be a point guard.
And you know what's funny? And Jimmy, you can probably know this stat. How many times in a game does the guy who brings the ball up that's considered the point guard get to take the shot? I'm just asking that question.
In a high school setting or a grassroots setting?
Any setting. I mean, even in grassroots.
We ain't talking about Damian Lillard and them type. We talking about about a regular point guard.
Hey man, that's not a normal occurrence.
Yeah.
If that happens, more than twice, parents gonna have a problem in the stands if the coach don't.
So you mean if the point guard come down and shoot the ball more than twice?
Then you gonna hear the parents gonna give. If the coach don't say nothing, the parents gonna say something.
PGWs.
Now I see why them parents used to be mad at my son's school then, because he was the point. Guess what I told him? I never forget it. And this is what the coach told him. Excuse me. The coach said, the point guard job is to make sure my offense run the way I want it to. I wanted you to get the ball to the best player, which is yourself. The coach told him that. Make sure everybody's involved and be a leader on defense and be the best defensive player. That's what the coach told him to do. A point guard, if you the best player, your job is to get it to yourself.
And guess what?
What?
Your son, Cornell didn't love him playing with his high school team. They loved him to saw he can play.
He passed the ball. Yeah, like he passed the ball when he's up there. Oh, hell yeah.
So that was
picture the head. Yeah.
That was a true assessment of how to evaluate him, because then they got to see how he could do. They got to see him actually give energy on defense
with the hoops. Yes.
About his quickness on defense.
Yes.
Because now he and they saw that.
Yeah.
Because now if the coach knows you can defend, they can rely. Defense gonna keep you on that court when you're young.
I promise you. Especially freshmen.
No doubt. Early on. Energy, you know, nobody wants to coach effort. Nobody wants to coach effort. I mean, and defense 90% of the time is effort. I mean, let's be honest, you know, getting down and defending is effort. You know, another thing I wanted to touch on, right, is positions is everybody wants to, if a kid's over 6'6", then everybody's a 3, right? Nobody wants to be a 4, right? And in most offenses, the 4 is crucial. It runs through the 4. So it's just explaining it to parents, because from the surface, it's all the barbershop talk. You know, man, how you gonna take little Johnny to play with Joe, man? You can't, man. They play the same position, right? That's always the bit, man. They play the same position. Most colleges play with 2 point guards now. Yes. Right? Let's just be honest.
Yes.
A bunch of wings and a 5 that just sprints, rim runs, and dunks everything comes off the rim. I mean, it's not that difficult. I mean, if you really break it down, I think just sometimes explaining it to parents, sometimes getting them on the phone with the college coach and having the college coach explain to them, hey, man, when your son gets here, this is what we need him to do. You know, what I would do, if all the kids that were committed, I would talk to all their coaches and say, man, what do I need to do to get this kid better when he steps on your campus? How do you plan to use him? Bam, bam, bam. Okay, let me try my best to put that kid in those situations as much as possible in the spring and summer. This is a committed kid, right? Not one that's looking, this is a committed kid. Because I know when he goes to high school, they're going to put him in the best situation for that high school team to win, which doesn't necessarily mean it's best for him. And that's what sometimes people don't get. That's the disconnect a lot.
Okay. Jimmy?
Now, going into the boom boom room, we have more questions for you, and of course, this one right here comes from Ken, and
Yeah,
he
Ken,
asked,
got a good one.
"Can you discuss why Houston has so many issues with having, having a second Under Armour team?" I'm paraphrasing the question, but no, I guess in the past years, why is it? Why hasn't Houston been granted a second Under Armour team?
And I think, they think the world of Aaron Harrison, and, he's done a great job, and, he's been successful with this program. So, I mean, if I have a Whataburger on the corner of one street, why am I going to build one in the corner of the other street? It makes no sense. So it just doesn't make sense. If you have somebody who's done a great job for so long, why would you bring someone else into their area? This doesn't make any sense.
So is this saying that Hoops?
And that's
hold up, Jimmy. Is this saying that Hoops
That's
not
just me.
doing a better job? They got to
just-
bring another one in.
No, but that was a different thing. That was John Lucas is on the board.
Okay.
See that? Understand?
Marlon Lowe,
And remember,
Marlon Lowe had
what?
Marlon Lowe had a team.
No,
He had a
Marlon
Nike
Lowe
team.
had Marlon Lowe had the opportunity, remember, to play his way into the Nike deal. With Isaiah Austin, they lost.
No, Jimmy,
Then
they
Marlon-
played. They played with Isaiah Taylor. They was on the EYBL. We played against them.
Jimmy, you getting old and forgetting? Wow. Look at him.
Yes.
Look, he's thinking at him.
Yeah. Sure
Jimmy,
did.
come on, Isaiah
But I'm
Taylor now.
Hey,
Hey.
It's time when
y'all
they
might
will.
want to go to
That's all right. I
commercial.
got you, baby. I got you
Let Jimmy
back.
get his mind right.
I got
No,
you
no,
back.
no. I'm talking about when it was time for him to get
Renew.
that last year with Isaiah Austin.
Renew.
When it was time
Yeah.
to up, they came up with a rule and with a makeshift, kind of like the NBA did with the play-in tournament. They made a little tournament,
Yeah.
and whoever won the
Yeah.
tournament
Yeah.
got the deal.
Yeah.
And it was set for Texas Pro. Pretty much, they were a heavy favorite to
They
win
getting
that.
their head tore off. They were getting their head tore off on the EYBL though. I'm just telling you.
And that's kind of like, how it went down with that
You
deal.
crazy.
That was-
Jimmy, it was loss after loss after loss. I was there. We from Houston. I'm trying to, I got to cheer for the Houston team. You know how I am. But it wasn't nothing to cheer about. They get their head tore off, boss.
Well, I mean, a lot of times people, and that's the thing, like you just said with Aaron Harrison.
Uh-huh.
This is the part that a lot of people just don't understand. And I think that people just don't want to understand, and that's a different line of defense than you not understanding. Some people don't want to understand, and it's been that way a long time. Even with Hal Pastner with the Houston Hoops, he would fight tooth and nail with corporate for years to prevent people from getting a second or even a third sneaker team in Houston. He would use all of his influence to make sure that did not happen.
So you saying there's some blocking going on? Some blocking going.
Well, we'll let Lupe address that. Do you say? I mean, not necessarily address Hal Pastner's issue, but blocking in regard to a program. If you have you're in the ASAC area. If somebody else if they had a star player or that was pretty good coming up the ranks, and they felt they can get a sneaker deal, and and they went to go and soliciting Under Armour when you were in your position with Texas Hard Work, what would likely happen? Explain to them how this thing goes. What's likely to happen if Robert Hatter had a team and he goes and saying he beats your team and say he beats your team and he goes and sending emails up there and sending the video and tell them how he got your kids and all his kids are better than your kids and this and that and they should get a deal. What's likely to happen with that email? After
Spam. We're going right to spam. I mean, it's relationships, right? I'm going right back to how long has somebody been doing it? If they doing a good job, and it's relationship based, right? So they might would have called me and say, hey man, what's up with this guy? He keeps calling me, says a deal, say he beat y'all, this and that, and then it's a conversation. Yeah, okay, he beat me. He doesn't have this, and I've been there X amount of years, and and I've sit on it's influence. It is at the end. It becomes political, becomes influence. And here's the biggest thing. Let's say theoretically, right, that particular shoe company says, we're going to go ahead and put another team there, right? It also has a lot to do with finances. Can that particular brand afford financially to put another team there? you know, and can they support it enough, knowing is there enough talent or is there enough base, or are you able to pull? I mean,
do
it
anybody
depends how
want to
you
play
spin
on
it.
that circuit? Do two teams want to play? Can y'all get enough players that's good enough to play on that circuit from up city? I mean, I understand that part. I mean, but Jimmy, don't forget.
And I think
I know we got Loopy here. Jimmy, don't forget about them picks. I know you be getting your head tore off. You don't want to pick today. You don't want to pick for the NFL picks. Loopy can help you if he want to. But Loopy, I whooped him like he stole something from Macy's last week. So he done forgot about it. So
we was almost tied up, Luke.
How bad was it? How bad was it?
We had to go to Monday Night Football to decide who won.
Come on, Hatter.
Loopy,
come on, Hatter.
Loopy. When I tell you they had him in handcuffs at Macy's, I whooped him that bad, Coach. It was.
Hey, Sandro down there with that bag and that bail money.
Oh yeah. But
I could see her running right now with that little clutch full of cash and get her baby out.
No, we got a few more minutes with you, Loopy. I just didn't want Jimmy to get off of this air because I saw some people mentioning it on there, and I didn't want it to get out without getting this whooping. I got to get another one. I want to whoop him 3 weeks in a row. So that's my goal.
And Rod Wells just posted what the final score was after Monday Night Football. It was 9-7 last week.
That's a lot, Jimmy, in this.
That means Loopy. That means one game goes
dictated it.
It's
Absolutely.
tied. It's one game goes all the way. It's 8.
Loop. It had to be 2 games to tie it up. 2 games, right?
Heather, if
No,
you were 9-7, if you would have lost the last game, it would have been 8-8.
But Loopy.
One game.
Loopy. That's a whooping in this. Because guess why? I'm going to show you why, Loopy. We alternate picks. I pick a team, he pick a team. I pick a team, he pick. It ain't like I have all of my picks, he have all his picks. So when you alternating like that, because some of the teams that I would have chosen, I let him have. So he got some of my teams. Cam Newton, that's my dude. Hold up. What's his name? Russell Wilson, that's my dude. That's 2 wins that I gave him with my dudes. So that's what he don't understand, Loopy. He don't understand it. But Jimmy, let's get back. We got more grassroots questions. We got any more?
I got a question for Jimmy.
Okay. Uh-oh.
I have a question for Jimmy. So what you don't know, Hatter, is, once a year around Christmas time or whatever, we'd go down to the spot. And I'd see Jimmy, and he'd always gift me. He gifted me something for a couple of years, right? And super thankful for it.
Okay.
Right. And it was always, it was a nice polo from the NBA Top 100 camp, double X, real nice, because it was Under Armour. Right? It was Under Armour.
Yeah.
So, he give it to me. I'm curious if his ass is going into that Nike closet with that high dollar Nike gear that he has, and he's going to gift me any of that. I'm just curious.
Man, you big in the
Loopy, what size you wear, Loopy? What size you wear?
Double X.
I can't get
Double X.
Hey, Loopy, I'm in XL, Loop, I'm in XL. I can't mess around with them. They ain't gonna send me no double
Slim
X.
and sexy.
Huh?
Yeah. You slim and sexy.
Hey, hold up, Marcus Sloan,
Hey,
you talking about me?
Look, I got you, boss. You come to Houston, I got you.
I'm gonna wear a Speedium next week. Not a medium, a Speedium.
Hey, and that's what you probably already wearing right now. And hey, Wesley asked a good question for you, Louis. He says, so what will your primary role with JL3 be besides taking care of the operations down in San Antonio area and beyond that way?
I mean, the same role I had at Texas Hard Work, kind of from a 30,000 foot view of helping, put together the teams and the coaches and, with the recruitment aspect of it and kind of overseeing the movement of and this is another thing I want to point out. A lot of people don't understand. They assume it's just 1 year, right? They assume that I'm just bringing Vince and Austin and I'm gone. That's not it. This is a long-term plan that me and Coach talked about and went back and forth for several weeks of our vision. And we both had the same vision of what this could become, right? And it's something we'll share in the future, not something we're, wanting to share right now, right out of the forefront. but it's something that I plan to do long term. It's not something that myself and Terrence just plan to come do for, 1 year and then we're out. So I do want to make that very clear.
And did we get the question from Lawrence Johnson did it hurt your son's recruitment by playing him out of position in high school, especially the point guard position?
That wasn't me, because he played point guard in high school, and he played point guard in college. So that might be for some. I don't know who that was for. He played.
I'm just making sure. I'm just making sure. I know he tossed it to you, but that was a different and really and truly, that's a whole nother topic. You got to realize, guys, various coaches have various ideologies. Various coaches have different views of what a point guard should be.
That's right.
Various coaches have a different thoughts of what a center or wing should do, or shooting guard should do. Some people, it's not a one blank thing. It really ain't.
It's fluid. It's fluid. Very fluid.
It really ain't. And well, Lupe, what I'm gonna do now is I want you to witness something. I want you to witness me make these picks for this week's NFL game, and I'm gonna let you know Monday. I'm gonna let you know how it goes down. I'm gonna let you watch me make these picks. You go first this week, sir.
No. I don't want no excuse, Lupe. Just observe, because he gonna say, man, Lupe messed my picks off. So Lupe, you just sit back and observe. You can make a comment on one of the players or whatever you want to play, but if he asks you, don't ask him, because I know him, man. He gonna say, man, Lupe messed me up. So don't get in the middle of this whooping. Yeah, okay, thank you, sir. Come on, Jim.
Come on.
You go first,
Game,
Jim.
go first. I
went
went first last week.
Jimmy,
No.
why didn't you send it to me so I can print it off?
I just sent it to you. Look on your phone.
Oh, okay. All right.
I sent it to you.
Okay. All right, let me print it. Hold on, y'all. Hey, wait a minute. Let me see how loud my printer is, Jimmy. let me see how loud it is. Hold on. Let me see. Print. See how he do me, y'all? I'm glad Lupe here today. Lupe, I ain't gonna tell you something. I've been waiting on you to come on, man. I appreciate you. I know you got to get back to work. You like that little area right there. You don't look good in that area.
Well, my phone was dying.
Huh?
My phone was dying. My phone was dying. I had to put it in the charger.
Okay. This phone, hold up. Jimmy, what the hell you done sent me? That print ain't even came on yet.
Man, come on.
You done sent me a piece of, hold on.
Say.
Oh, that is.
Well, Lori says, that's right. You went first last time. Lori, thank you, Lori.
I just
go
said
first.
I went first. You gonna listen to me?
Okay, so I can go on first. Cincinnati at Cleveland.
Jimmy, it ain't printed
nice.
yet.
Don't worry. I'm going to go and get it started.
No, I'm not. No, sir. Not me. Ain't that what?
I know.
Hey, Lupe. Ain't that what Rick Wall said? No, sir, not me. It's coming,
y'all
Jimmy.
crazy. I want to. So what does the winner get out of all this?
Hold on, Lori.
Right?
Say Heather went first. You saying I went first?
Now you went first. I went first, Jimmy. I picked the Texans. Yeah, I went. Oh no, you did go. You picked who you picked? No, I picked the Texans. I don't care. Hold on.
You see how you cheat? See what I got to go through every week.
Lupe.
Every week.
Lupe. This been for about 4 years straight. I just been tanning. I mean, sometimes Jimmy's a perennial loser.
Come on, go first. Cincinnati at Cleveland. Go.
You going
the
first?
line?
Right?
Your turn to go first this week. I went last week.
Okay. Cincinnati at Cleveland tonight. Oh, you're right,
Yes.
Jimmy. You went to Thursday night game. You're right. Okay. Cincinnati at Cleveland.
The opening line,
Jimmy.
Cleveland was 6.5.
So you gonna give Cincinnati 6.5?
If you take Cincinnati, I am.
I'm gonna take them 6.5, Jim.
Okay, I got Cleveland. I'll take that.
Take them
Ain't nowhere in
6.5.
the hell Cleveland gonna lose at home after they got their ass whipped last week.
Jimmy, ain't no crowd in the stand, sir.
Yeah, but they made short. Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. Tight britches. Well, tight britches too. You know, it's two of them. Odell, they gonna make sure he gonna get 10 passes this week. After what happened, last week,
Jimmy, they don't
gonna
like
pass him
each
the
other. Just like Paul George and that boy cussed Paul George out today. I know y'all hearing about it today. That's the stuff I didn't want to bring out. Yeah, but we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that
now.
later. What we got?
My turn. Atlanta and Dallas.
Who?
You know what? Atlanta Falcons, the Dirty Birds playing the Cowboys.
Who you want?
God, dog, look at the line. Look what happened to the line.
I don't see the line.
I sent it to you. It's on the
Jimmy,
thing.
I'm printing out. That don't mess the way you send it to me. It take a long time to print out.
What happened, guys? Y'all work with me, Cowboy fans. How in the hell the line go from 7 to 4.5?
Quit begging from everybody.
Wow.
Use the begging. Dude, come on, man. You
So
want a
we-
discount?
Are we going by the current line or the opening line?
We going by what's on this paper like we did yesterday. Odell Beckham probably in a hotel room with that model that he was over with that white stuff on the thing.
I'm gonna take Dallas and I'm gonna give you the 4.5.
You gonna take Dallas?
I'm giving you the 4.5.
No. You ain't giving me nothing.
Yes.
We going by that opening line, boss.
Now we said it last week.
No, we go by the opening line.
Oh my God, man, we do. We said it last week. The current line. That's why we pick. That's why we pick on Thursday. We don't pick on Monday because something can happen. That's the reason, Hal.
Yeah, no doubt.
Jimmy, we pick on Thursday because it's the last day on the show. What the hell are you talking about? Hey, Loopy, I told you stay out of this. Hey, Loopy, we pick on Thursday, Loopy, because it's the day before. It's the last day we're on the show.
But the line, Harold, the line changes. That's one of the very reasons.
But Jimmy, hold up, Jimmy. I won a couple of more games last week. I'm gonna go back and get that because I was going by the opening line.
We both went by the current line.
I didn't. I'm telling you, I didn't. But come on.
Okay, your turn. Buffalo at Miami.
So hold up, let me get this right. No, you going for that? You give it. I got Atlanta, right?
Yes.
And 4.5 points.
Just circle Atlanta. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Miami and Buffalo.
Buffalo at Miami. Buffalo is giving up 5.5.
5.5. I'm gonna go with Buffalo.
Okay.
I got him, Loopy.
You might win that one. Miami horrible. They awful. Unless they put Alabama in. Put Alabama. I'm moving for them to get their ears beat in. So that way Alabama can play. Little tour. Carolina at Tampa Bay. Woo! Man.
What you want, Cletus?
I'm going to get,
Loopy, he be, do it take that long, man?
That's a lot of punts to give up, man. 9 punts?
Ooh. Give me them 9 points, baby, because you know I want Tom. Give me Tom and them 9 points, please. Please.
You know what? Carolina scored 30 punts last week. I'm gonna take that 9. I'm gonna give you 10. I'm taking 9. I'm taking 9.
Wow.
Come on, Denver at Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. I'm gonna give you them 7 points, and I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh. 7.5 points, right?
Good. Detroit at Green Bay.
What you gonna do?
Man, I lost with Detroit last week.
I don't want to hear about that.
I'm gonna give you Detroit. Let you go. Let you lose with them this week. I'm gonna take Green Bay. I'm gonna take discount double check.
Okay, you gonna give me them? You gonna give me what? 6 points?
6.
No, 6 punts.
Yeah, you got every punt.
Jacksonville at Tennessee. Jim,
give me them. Give it to me.
Go. Give it to me. Who you want? Who you want?
Give it to me.
Who you want? Who you like? I'm gonna give it to you. Who you like? I'm gonna go with hey.
Give me Jacksonville, your bad ass. In them 10 and 9 punts.
Oh hell no! I ain't getting. I'm No. Oh, wait. Whoa. No, I'm gonna have 9. If I take Jacksonville, I got 9 points, right?
Yeah.
I'm going with Jacksonville, dog.
You gonna give me Tennessee?
Yeah, because Tennessee don't don't run the game up. That's a good one. Come on, let's go, baby.
And you know that running back do. after getting embarrassed.
After that suit he wore the other day, he gonna be in trouble. They messing with him about that suit he wore. Police
like
looking for him.
Like the Riddler, didn't it? It looked like the Riddler.
Come on.
That's what he looked like.
Who
The
we
Rams
got?
the Rams at Philly. Ooh, that's a pick 'em.
That's a pick.
I'm gonna take the Rams.
Man, no, see, you always taking my teams, man. I can't stand that.
Your team.
All right. Minnesota and
and-
Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Indianapolis lost last week. And wait a minute. Indianapolis giving up points
Yeah.
to Minnesota. You know what? I'm going to go with Indianapolis. I lost with them last week. I guess I'll lose with them again.
I'd take them 3.
Okay.
I'd take them 3. The Giants at the Bears.
What you got?
Ooh, them Giants off. I'm taking the Bears. I'm giving you that 5.5.
No, man.
Giants off. Awful.
All right.
They awful.
San
Come on,
Francisco at the Jets. 7 points. I got to have San Francisco.
Damn.
See how quick? Loopy. See what I'm talking about? I know you're over there doing some work, but see what I'm talking
I'm
about?
just staying out of it. I'm staying out of it. I'm just staying out of it.
Hey,
You can't tell me to stay out then bring me back in.
No. Stay out of the picks. You can come back in.
Oh.
I got you in. Hey, if I wanted you out of it, guess what I'd have did? I'd have clicked this button and click you off. But keep going. Keep going, Jimmy. This your next one. Washington, Arizona. Jimmy, give me Arizona, please.
ooh.
Give
I'm
me
gonna
Arizona. I'm
oh.
begging. Give me Arizona.
You know, man, I'm not going with that football team. I'm going with Arizona. I'm giving you them points. Them dudes love playing together right now. They the Denver Nuggets right now.
All right. Oh, Kansas. Oh, gosh.
Kansas City at the Chargers. Ooh.
Jimmy, I can't bet against Pat Mahomes.
Chargers got a hell of a defense. Hell of a
Okay.
defense.
They sure have. But I'm
give-
going with Kansas City.
give
You
me
ain't going to trick me
8.5.
into that one.
You giving me 8.5.
Yeah, I'm going to give you 8.5. You need any more? You need something else?
Yeah, give me 10.
0. Not happening. Come on, Baltimore at Houston.
Ooh, Baltimore at Houston.
Please don't give me Houston.
I needed you to pick that game. I didn't want to pick that damn
Jimmy,
game.
please don't give me Houston. I don't want to cheer for them. Please give me Baltimore. I'll give you some extra point.
Baltimore giving up 7. Loopy, you call this, Loopy. You call it.
Loopy, you in now, Loopy.
Baltimore
right.
giving up 7 points to the Texans.
Where's
You
the
might-
game at?
In Houston.
Taking Baltimore. Taking the Ravens.
Jimmy,
Take
let me
the
have the Ravens.
I got the Ravens then.
Man, I don't want to. Hey, I'll give you that game. I don't even care about that game. That's one of my gimmies.
Okay, well, give me this one then. New Orleans and Seattle. That's the nightcap.
No, New England. New England.
No, I mean New England. New England at Seattle. Yeah, give me that one. Two another pair of black quarterbacks going
Let me
head
tell
to
you
head.
something, Jimmy. I done
Don't
learned.
Take tight britches.
I done learned. I don't bet against Sierra's husband. Hey, Loopy, I don't bet against Sierra's husband. That's the best. That man got the best situation in the world.
He gonna be right when he goes out there.
Lori, I hope you got all that, Lori. Don't let it, because he sure to try to act like he ain't picked something he didn't pick.
Lord,
I got it. Watch
Look at
this.
that,
This
Loopy. I got it, baby. Look at that orange, Loopy. I got it. That
and
orange.
we won't need Monday Night Football to solve this one right here. I can guarantee y'all that much, and that's for sure. And Loopy, man, we definitely appreciate it, man. This was on this Baby Friday, and I wanted to make sure as I got something right here.
You got a
I
gift
get
for Loopy.
though.
You got him
Does it have
another
a
gift.
handlebar?
Yeah, as Sandra said, she put the
That's
bell
some bullshit. That's
No,
some bullshit, Jimmy.
that's homemade.
Some
What the
That's
hell is
homemade.
that?
I
I
know
can't
it.
even
I know
see
it.
it. What is it?
That's homemade. That's some that ain't Tex-Mex. That's Mex.
I haven't had no lunch. And see, Jimmy's wrong for that. I'm about to text Sandra as soon as we get off.
Hey, corn tortillas.
I hope you get into
I'm
Jesse.
gonna put my finger right there so the meat don't fall out the back.
Hey, that's all right. Hey, Loopy, I got you some sea bass the next time you come down here.
I'll be there next week.
Hey, Lupe, you eat that right there? You start singing in Spanish. Ay, 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 ay.
Hey, Lupe.
Hey,
Hey, Lupe. That's why I can kid in these XLs. Cause if I was eating crazy, I'd be in them double X's. I got to stay in these. Hey, see how tight that shirt is? I got to stay in them tight shirts, Lupe.
You really wanted to show that bicep. I see you flexing. I saw that. I saw that.
Where's that? Oh yeah, old man too. Old man.
You got that golf tan too.
Hey,
I appreciate you guys.
Hey man, we appreciate you, man. Congratulations, man.
Thank
and you gave us something. Wait a minute, Todd said
I got one last question. Somebody text me a question while we were doing the football pick.
What was the question?
A really good question.
What's the question?
Since the NCAA has announced on yesterday that the dead period has been extended to January the 1st.
I saw that.
This means no campus visits. No official visits, no home visits, no live in-person evaluations. What's the timetable now for your son? I know he has another year. What's the timetable though on him now for his recruitment if this goes into because sometimes you do campus visits and at a young age and everything. How do you guys plan to embrace that?
I think he's in a real blessed situation for all the schools that are recruiting him the heaviest, that he's already been to those campuses, right? So he's already seen, he's seen it. He's been on campuses. He's comfortable in those particular situations, right? So if your back's against the wall and let's say they extend it all the way to June and they just get rid of it altogether, I don't think that's going to be a big reasoning of not for him to commit to whatever particular school he wants to go to. So for us personally, it's not that big of a deal.
No. I got another one for you, Lupe, because he almost cursed me out and said I didn't answer the question. Todd said, ask Lupe what made him move his son for high school since he was already highly recruited already. What made him, what was the move from high school? The high school move you made?
That program is no longer in existence. The National High School program that was at Cornerstone, right? They decided not to bring that program back.
Wow.
Yeah, if it still would have been there, we'd still be there.
Okay, I like that. That's it for me, Jim. Unless you got something else.
Yeah, that's it. We at the end of the road. It's time to slide on that and yabba dabba do this thing on this baby Friday, man. Any last thoughts you have for them, Lupe? That's on. You can feel free to let them share with the public if you have any thoughts, any last words, or if you want to reflect back for a minute or so on your time with Texas Hard Work. You want to share your thoughts and your thanks with Boo Man and his family. A lot of people. This is your platform right now to take it away.
I think it was a blessing. We've made some lifelong friends with Texas Hard Work, by parents and kids and everything that we've been able to provide with Terrence and myself. I think it was just a blessing, to be honest with you. A lot of people don't know that Terrence and I go back to 1997, and we've been friends before basketball, before Hard Work, before we had kids. He encouraged me to date my wife, and we've been together over 20 years now. So there's a bond that a lot of people don't understand that goes beyond basketball. And I think us being able to take that, and I think just being, genuine in what we tried to do for a lot of kids here in this area. It was a hell of a run. I think it was great. We helped kids. We learned a lot of lessons. We took our bumps. We took our lumps. What a lot of people don't know, he has a very talented daughter. And she's ranked at top 5 for sure, maybe number 3 in the country. That played on the 16U level as a 7th grader. So his focus now, his boys are gone, is going to make sure that his daughter's right. That's awesome, and so for him as a father, I'm excited for him and LA and everything that we've done. For the city, I think we elevated the city. I do believe that. Jimmy would never probably even mention San Antonio. And so now it's he does, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys allowing me to come in here and kind of explain exactly how it went down. And there was a lot of myths out there. And like Jimmy likes to say, a lot of people throwing out lies to get the truth. And so You know, it's. I want to thank you guys. Thank you for your time. I appreciate everything you do. Appreciate your platform, and we'll be talking soon.
Lupe.
So
Your all-time starting five Texas hard work before you go. At point guard.
Jalen Jackson.
Jalen Jackson at the 1. At the 2.
Jamias Ramsey.
Okay. Rams at the 2. At the 3.
Micah Peavy.
Okay, that's a good one. At the 4.
Gerald Liddell.
Okay. At the 5.
Vancy Wachuku.
Damn, you said that quick, dude. Dude, most of these guys be on here talking about Lupe.
He done his homework. He
Lupe,
wait.
Everybody else be talking about this too hard. You came up there and said bam, 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 bam. First time that ever happened. First time.
And I think I have 3 pretty good ones off the bench.
Who your bench?
Langston Love, KJ Adams, and Austin Nunez. With Gerald Colbert. Pretty good 9 kids.
How long, man? Ramon Walker, man. Ramon Walker. I'm putting him on that bench.
You know what? I did that on purpose to see if you were going to back this. See, I want to make sure, see what side of it. Make sure you're going to back me up there, Jimmy. I like that. I threw that out there on purpose to see if you took the bait.
He on that bench, man.
Houston. He got to be. He the gatekeeper. If he didn't, I was going to sit up there and say, what?
And I'm just about at the point where I had to do a James Cleveland for those of you guys that bleed that are of the cloth. And I'm about at the point where I had to say, who in the hell left the gate open? And that's what in this stuff.
But Jimmy, you can listen to gospel music. Atheists listen to gospel music.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. They do.
I'm not.
They want to know how the other side live. But Lupe, we out here, man.
We
appreciate you guys, man.
Hey, man, we see you guys, man. You guys be safe this weekend. Don't forget, Jeffrey Day got his event over at the gym on Saturday.
Yes.
And that's going to be over at the gym. You guys, Jeffrey Day has his event this weekend, I think, and other stuff. Guys, guess what? A lot of people have got stuff going on. Take advantage of the platform. You should post this on the timeline and let people know.
Yeah,
and we'll get back in the groove next week. But anyway, guys, we'll see you guys on Monday. We up out of here, man. It's time to slide on down Dino's back again and yabba dabba do this thing on Baby Friday. Thanks for Lupe Nunez for chopping it up with us on the Chop Shop. It's going to be one hell of a week coming up, man. We'll see you soon. Peace. Chop Shop.
Jim Hicks. Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop.